Devils by Fyodor Dostoevsky. Dramatized by Melissa Murray. Episode 1.
Let me be the first to congratulate you.
And to do that, you have to rush into the room without knocking?
The whole town is agog, a buzz, in a ferment of whatever it is. It's the very best news in the world. It's true, isn't it?
Are you going to stand there panting like a horse?
A horse?
You had such long, elegant legs once. Like a horse, not like a donkey.
My dear Mrs. Stavrogina.
Yes?
Nicholai is coming home. He's coming home at last.
What do you mean at last? Do you think it was his choice to stay away?
No, of course not. I meant until now. Well,
He isn't the first good man to be put under suspicion, as they say. You should know all about that, Mr. Verkhovensky.
he is a young idealist. I was a young idealist. I still am, at heart.
Are you going to sit down like a rational creature?
What's wrong? You're not as happy as I thought you'd be.
How did you hear the news about Nicholai? Gossip, I suppose. Town is full of it. And the governor's wife is the worst gossip of them all.
Everyone is saying it's marvellous he's coming home. Just what this dull, dead backwater needs. Fresh blood. Oh, that's a rather unpleasant expression, isn't it, when you come to think of it?
Idiots.
Fresh thinking. That's better. He has been everywhere in Europe. He will have all the latest ideas, the latest insights. He was such a lovely boy. I am proud to think that, in my small way, as his tutor, I imparted some of my own
Sit down,
deep...
will you?
You're upset.
Why would I be upset that my son whom I love, is coming home? I'm not an unnatural mother, am I?
No one is as kind as you. No one.
And you know, of course, he is bringing your son with him. Why didn't you mention that?
Yes, I know he's coming too. Yes, it's wonderful.
You've heard from him?
No, not directly. They are the dearest of friends, by all accounts. Everyone says so. We have given them the example, we two, with our lifelong friendship.
An example of what, I wonder?
I can see very clearly that you are worried by something. No, don't glare at me.
And what do you suppose that Pyotr will make of you, his father? Will he think you old-fashioned? Ridiculous? Will he look round at this provincial little Russian town and think us all pitiful?
Oh, you mustn't imagine such things. Nicholai will love his old home. I am sure, I know, he would have come home sooner if he could.
I have no intention of discussing any of that with you. He's my son. I asked you here to talk about something else.
Well, here I am. Ask.
How can you spend so much money? Tailors, wine merchants, and hundreds every month on those evenings of yours. Inviting every half-baked lunatic in the town to spout seditious nonsense standing on the rugs I paid for.
Some aren't even invited. This German boy came and insisted on reading his 20-minute poem on brotherly love in the original German.
I wanted you to host an intellectual soiree where serious men could discuss the issues of the day here in our little town. The tone, liberal and enlightened, which God knows is needed given the governor's wife and her vulgarity. You were supposed to be a beacon. Instead, late-night singing and seditious nonsense.
Some of the young men are... Well, they are young men. We must make allowances.
Allowances? I have made you too many allowances.
When Nicholai is home, I will obviously conduct matters on a
I'm going to make a proposal to you. It will surprise you.
Thank you.
Why are you thanking me?
It's a habit of mine, Mrs. Stavrogina, to thank you.
Are you offended? I'm happy to help you. I have not forgotten who you are. I still admire you, of course. But the way you live, it cannot continue. I owe it to the man who wrote those wonderful, passionate essays that took the whole of Petersburg by storm.
25 years ago.
I owe it to him to look after you. I absolutely can't bear to see you becoming a figure of fun, a joke. You must be taken in hand. To put it bluntly, you must be married.
What?
That is my proposal. And I would be very disappointed to hear you disagree with me. Darya will make a wonderful wife. She is shrewd, practical, economical, and a good, grateful girl who will be overjoyed to have her own household and husband to manage.
Darya? Your companion, Darya? But she is a child.
She's 27 or 28, 25. She will be good to you. She is a kind girl, reserved but kind. Please, Stepan, my dear old friend, agree. She will leave my household with a handsome dowry. You will be an independent man.
Yeah, with a wife half my age. I thought you didn't want me to be a laughing stock.
You're thinking she's a peasant.
I beg your pardon.
Oh, the hypocrisy. All those fine words about equality and fraternity and so on, but when it comes to it, you won't marry a girl of peasant stock.
I don't understand you. I don't understand this.
She, of course, when she knew of my wishes, agreed at once.
Miss Darya and I have said nothing but the most common pleasantries to each other in our whole lives.
And why would you bother to say anything of importance to a peasant girl?
Perhaps I had better go home.
Perhaps you had better. But before you go, Darya, before you go, I would like to see you insult this poor girl to her face. Darya.
I'm here, Mum.
Knocking on doors has gone out of fashion, I see. Darya, Mr. Stepan Verkhovensky wishes to speak to you.
My God, my God.
What did you say? What did you say to her?
I couldn't speak. I couldn't say a word. I found that I had taken her hand in mine, the way a drowning man will clutch at anything. I babbled. I think I mentioned Voltaire. I spoke of the supreme nobility of the Russian people in terms that would have embarrassed a child of 8. I told her that her people, were the soul, spirit, and future of the entire human race. And I walked out of Mrs. Stavrogin's house, an engaged man. If you feel the least inclination to punch me to the floor, don't hesitate. The poor girl.
Yeah, the poor girl.
But what of me? How am I treated?
It isn't important how we're treated.
Yes, well, but I thought in your circumstances, in your very difficult circumstances.
I loved my fiancée.
That's all very well, Virginsky. But running off to Moscow with that soldier?
He was a veteran, a brave man who fought in battle.
Oh, that's not all he was. Gambler, drunkard. But I don't want to discuss your situation. I don't want to pain you.
The bonds of marriage are a tyranny.
I won't have a boy like you lecture me on free love. Tonight's gathering must be cancelled. I can't face it.
If you cancel, then everyone will come. Even the ones who weren't thinking of coming will come.
I drink too much.
Mr. Verkhovensky, if I could just say one thing. Promise me you will never tell her, never tell Miss Darya that you forgive her.
I won't. Why would I? What do I have to forgive her for?
When I found out that Sophia was meeting that soldier, I said the most magnanimous things to her. It just incensed her that a man of my principles, my so progressive views on the woman question, thought suddenly that it was my place to judge her, to comment on her actions, to... the moral vileness of it. Forgive her.
What are you talking about? Do you know something about Darya's past?
Don't even ask that question. You have no right to ask that question. It's just gossip.
What past do I have to forgive? What do you mean? What have you heard, Virginsky?
No, I'm not reading. That's
Thou springing grass that art so green shall soon be rosy red, my blood the hue supplying. I drink the first glass sword in hand, to him who for the people's love lies dying. Now quickly comes the second draught, and that shall be to freedom quaffed.
The German boy again. I suppose we should be gratefully translated at this time. Or perhaps not. Let's get out of here before he starts up again. Tell me, do you think anyone knows? I mean, about my engagement. Have you picked up anything?
Putin is here. His cook is cousin to Miss Stavrogin's coachman, so...
Oh, gods! Where is he? I must get away. God, here I am reduced to hiding in my own house.
Oh, what verse, what noble feeling. I hear congratulations are in order, dear man. Hug and kiss, yes. Oh, hug and kiss your old friend Laputin. I know exactly what you're going to say. Don't tell a soul. Keep discreet. Do not blab about it. Private matter. Very, very private matter. I know. Personally, I'm dumbstruck. Graves are not as silent.
Yes, I know I can rely on you.
But the question is not what this little lot thinks. It's what Shatov says, what Shatov does. Darya's brother, but a very, very different kettle. Surly, sulky, scowly Shatov. He's not the smooth, cool Darya. Face like a boxing bag and fists to match. He's not here yet, is he? I definitely heard he was coming tonight.
Oh, God, yes. I haven't even thought of that.
You know that Shatov once slapped our Nicholai Stavrogin, in the face, right across the face. It was when they were in Petersburg, or in Switzerland, somewhere. They were such friends, such comrades, as the young people say. It was a hard blow, and Nicholai was positively knocked to the floor. People asked, why didn't Nicholai call him out? After all, it wouldn't be the first man he killed in a duel, if rumours are to be believed. Can you imagine Shatov with a pistol? A bear with an embroidery needle. But Nicholai didn't call him out. Was it because the accusation was true, he actually was sleeping with Shatov's wife? Or because, radical politics aside, it isn't quite the done thing to shoot a peasant, a chap whose father was owned by your father? What do you think?
I think you are a nasty mosquito.
They said the same about Socrates, that he was a gadfly. I know my classics as well as you do, even if I've never been to Petersburg.
I have no wish to continue this conversation.
Nicholai is, and here we must lower our voices, Nicholai Stavrogin, that hero, that inspirational figure, does appear to have a tenderness for the ladies. Listen. The governor's wife is telling everyone that Darya, when she went to Switzerland with old Mrs. Stavrogin last year, succumbed to Nicholai's charms. Can you imagine? Can you imagine as well how our Shatov feels about that? His wife and his sister.
Virginsky, grab this man by the hair and throw him out.
And of course, Mrs. Stavrogin is determined that her son, her lovely boy, shall marry no one but Lisa Tushina, the town's lovely heiress. Two rich, lovely lovelies together. So, Darya must be married off toot sweet and in a hurry. Can't have a scandal, can't have stories about Nicholai helping himself to the help, if you get me. What do you think of that? I like a man with an opinion. Tell me, what do you think of that?
You knew this. You knew this. This is what you were hinting at. Oh, good God. What am I going to do? So, my humiliation is complete. I sit here staring in the mirror at an old man with a neck like a crepe bandage. Drunk. Of course, drunk. After hiding from that lout Shatov in the summer house half the evening. No, he isn't a lout. He's a passionate soul who believes in the perfectibility of man. Who believed in the perfectibility of man. Till one day he didn't. How does that happen? How does one lose one's faith? We old warriors must keep the torch alight and aloft while the young falter. That, above all else, is my mission. What nonsense I talk. If I had money, I could click my fingers in her face. I could say, "You will not use me to cover up your son's debaucheries." I could refuse her. But Darya's dowry... Oh, if I had that, I could hold my head up. I could say to my son, "Here is the inheritance your mother left you. Every penny of it." We would embrace one another. Everything would be well. He would forgive me. He would understand. He would never know about the money. I did it with the greatest reluctance. But it was a miserable thing to do, and I am ashamed. No one can deny that I am ashamed to have, well, even temporarily, borrowed. Oh, enough. The world has proved too much for me. That's the truth. I am pitiable. But does anyone actually pity me? No. Tomorrow, I will cast it all aside. I will leave this house, this life, this bondage. I will go out into the world with a small knapsack, a Russian wanderer. I will beg for my bread, but proudly. I will let the people, the great Russian people, sustain me. Until at last, in the simple hut of an old, kind peasant, I will breathe my last. I will expire. And then dead, they will remember me. My books will be reissued, though in foreign editions, probably. Still too strong a medicine for this sickly state. They will flock to my grave. A simple monument with the words, life. Life.
Well, can't say I thought much of our radical youth if that's the best the town had to offer. Why was our host hiding half the night? Heard someone say something about your sister.
First, what the hell are you doing here, in this town of all places? Tell me what's going on, Krillov. I hear Stavrogina and his hyena are on their way. Is there something happening? Even if I am no longer a dear comrade, you can trust me.
I'm an engineer, Shatov. That's my work. I'm here to build.
Hey, gentlemen! Pardon me, gentlemen!
Who's that boy?
Walk faster. Leave him behind. Leave him alone! So, you're here to build a bridge and that's all?
Hey!
Look at me.
Who is he?
Oh, another young, tender-souled little fool with his heart on his sleeve and his head up his arse. Just as we were once. So, Stavrogin coming here at the same time as you. All that's just a coincidence.
Thanks. I just wanted... I first want to say to Shatov, don't blame poor Stepan Verkhovensky.
Blame him for what? Being an old woman's lapdog? I don't care who he marries. I don't care who my sister marries. You can tell him that if you like. He needn't have hid in the lavatory half the night.
Secondly, Mr. Krillov, I know you come from... that you are a serious man. And I would like to go on record. I would like to say that I stand ready. I am absolutely prepared to offer my services.
Come on, Krillov, I can't listen to this declaration of love. I told you we shouldn't have waited for him. Poor lamb.
Oh, he has the right
To make his own mistakes, but they're the same mistakes everyone makes. We all begin full of revolutionary fervour. We're going to set the world to rights. So we start by demanding unlimited freedom and end up running an abattoir.
You'll have to forgive my old friend.
Here's the thing. I thought, when I was young...
He's 28.
I swore that civilization, this civilization, was a straitjacket. A cruel confinement. Well, yes, it is a straitjacket. And good that it is. Very good. And why? Because we're a fallen race. Mad, demented and vicious, almost beyond belief. Only God can save us. Only the most strict, repressive regime, the Tsar, the stinking landlord class can keep us in check. A foot on the throat. It's the only way.
That's very interesting.
He's not always as cynical as this. Sometimes he gets very sentimental about us Russians and the Slavic destiny.
You're his friend. Do you think Stepan Verkhovensky is serious about marrying my sister?
I don't know. It seems to be Mrs. Stavrogin's idea. Miss Darya has said yes. That's what he told me. Is this where you live?
It's cheap.
If it's cheap, I might try and get a room there myself.
Come in and have a drink, Krillov. Captain Lebyadkin. He's on the ground floor with that poor bloody sister of his. I hope that's not Maria's China dog. She loves it. She has a hell of a life, poor girl.
Shouldn't we...
What an animal that man is. She's brave. She calls him her footman to put him in his place. He beats her black and blue sometimes. I'll go in and sort this out.
I swear to God, if you lay another hand on her...
Perhaps we could meet to talk sometime, Krillov.
Shatov is right. Keep your distance, Mr. Virginsky.
Dancing in the wind, lonely, lonely little bird tree, lonely, lonely little bird. That sounds ridiculous singing that in a peasant hut. What do I know about Russian folk songs? God, these boots are leaking already. Slow down, for heaven's sake, can't you see?
I see you, darling old professor. How many years has it been? Oh, my God. Let me kiss you. Take off your hat. Well, it happens. And you're fatter. Not shorter. It's because I'm taller you look. What are you up to? Tramping the road at this hour of the morning.
Lisa!
Of course, Lisa. Entirely grown up. Are you running away from home with that nice red knapsack?
Well...
He's blushing. Was that the wrong thing to ask? I haven't seen you for so long. But we were always friends as children. I mean, when I was a child. Have you forgotten me?
No one could forget you, Lisa Tushina. No one, my dear.
That's because I have a face like a Kalmuk. Step savage, but memorable. Is everything all right? What are you doing out at this hour?
Well, to be honest, and after all, that is a man's highest duty, I didn't sleep well. I was feeling a little distressed over events, and I thought, I wonder what it would be like to run away. So I packed a few things in my nice red knapsack and decided to see what it felt like. I'm still a child, as you can see.
I'm so sorry to hear you're troubled. Can you tell me about it?
Oh, it's just a silly game I was playing with myself. My boots hurt, and I'm hungry. Time to go home. So, tell me how you are. Tell me all your news. What a treat it is to see you.
I met your son in Switzerland, did he tell you?
We write to each other sometimes.
Now it is my turn, to be honest. I don't like him. I have to tell you that straight away, but probably that's because he despises me, rich girl. Also, the rumours about Nicholai and I are nonsense. We met 3 times, and on 2 of those occasions, they were hardly occasions, on 2 of them he didn't say a word to me, or anyone else. He didn't seem rude. I don't know why.
Well, I think it's wonderful that you will all be at home at the same time. It will liven this town up.
It's just a coincidence. I had planned to come home months ago. You must say that if you hear anyone talking about it. Suggesting things. I don't want you to run away with your knapsack, Professor. I need you.
I've nowhere to run to. No fool like an old fool.
Unless it's a young one. Can we have breakfast in your house?
I'm getting married. That's what's happened. That's what I was worrying about.
Are you? Well, that's very good, isn't it? Congratulations! Tell me, you're not happy?
Just surprising. It was a total shock to me. Yesterday morning I knew nothing about it. It's to Darya Shatova, Mrs. Stavrogin's companion. A very nice girl.
I've met her.
What do you think of her? Or is that an awkward question?
Not awkward, just impossible to answer. Don't know what to say about her, honestly. She's not knowable. At least not to me. I think she looks down on us all a bit. Secretly. Or at least she keeps herself above the fray.
Our Nicholai thinks well of her, it seems.
One hears the most extraordinary things about Nicholai.
Well, he's a very special young man. What have you heard?
There's many friendships. One of them is living in the town, apparently. Maria Lebyatkin. People talk about her. Do you know her?
To see in the street. Poor girl. She's the sister of that captain. What a nice man. Well, why do you mention her? What has she to do with Nicholai?
I think I will go and find out. I won't come for breakfast if you don't mind. It is so lovely to see you, Professor. I always called you that, didn't I? I'd better go now before I lose my nerve. Yes.
Do you think I should marry Miss Shatov?
You should go back to your own house. Have faith. Everything will be all right. We must have faith. Nicholai is an extraordinary man.
Yes, absolutely. I must have faith.
Come in. Hello. Hello, Hello. Hello.
You can brush my hair.
My name is Lisa Tushina.
I'll read your cards if you like, but if people can lie, why not cards? Anyway, what makes you think your future will be so unique and extraordinary that it deserves a reading? You'll marry a man and have children. 3 children. That's your fortune, or unfortune. Misfortune, I mean.
I haven't come to have my fortune told.
The brush is on the table next to the bread. You have gentle hands. You smell of horse.
I love horse riding. My mother doesn't like me to do it. Galloping around the town like a madwoman.
I loved being in the convent. That's the first thing I tell everyone. That's where they put me after I lost the baby.
You had a baby?
I think I did. You're all the same, aren't we? Thinking handsome princes will gallop up and rescue us. You have your own horse, though. I have nothing but a hairbrush. If we were in a fairy story, I would throw the brush on the ground and a huge hedge would shoot up and protect us poor sisters from a cruel world. Oh, come on, love.
Can I ask you?
No, you can't. This is my house.
Do you really tell fortunes?
I read the cards. I told you that before. If I have a fit or anything, don't throw cold water in my face. I hate that.
Are you feeling ill? Should I fetch a doctor?
My brother fetched me out the convent. He had the authority.
I wanted to speak to you about Nicholai.
Sometimes I sit down at breakfast, take a bite of bread, and then, like a blink, it's evening. He was very kind to me. Nicholai, I mean. Not my brother. My brother's a pig. A beast. Nicholai used to speak of the future. A wonderful future.
He did the same with me.
Not mine, personally. Not my actual future. He wouldn't want to talk about that. Too upsetting, no. He talked about the world's future. It's how it could be if people were freed from hunger and stupidity. If the rich are no longer rich and the poor no longer poor. To be honest, I drifted in and out, but it was better than anything. It was the best thing I've ever heard. Full of hope. He was full of hope. He sounded as if he was full of hope. Sometimes he didn't, though.
What happened?
What?
Is it true that Nicholai sold his estate and gave the money to your brother?
Is it true that you're a rich bitch who asks too many questions? I cannot believe I said that. Try and laugh it off, will you? Pretend I'm a bit touched and don't always know what I'm saying. I'm embarrassed.
Don't be embarrassed. Come with me. Come with me now.
I wish you wouldn't fidget.
Sorry.
Oh, I detest waiting. Where is this fellow? We must get your marriage settled now. I'm expecting Nicholai home within days. Is this Mr. Shatov always late?
Perhaps Mr. Shatov is busy.
Running off to the factory, telling the men to strike and to starve.
Oh, not anymore, apparently.
What is he like? Not like Darya?
He is a very large young man.
What has that to do with anything? Are you afraid he will hit you?
Anything is possible.
I'm sorry, this man...
Mrs. Stavrogina, I don't know what you want with me. There was no need to ask me here. Let my sister marry who she likes. Darya has a mind of her own. That's all I have to say. Good day.
Welcome, Mr. Shatov. If you would be so good as to take a seat. I will ring for Darya to join us, and perhaps we can have a civilized conversation.
I want you to know that I have the highest respect, the highest regard for your sister.
We all have to make a living one way or another. Is there something you want me to sign or say, Mrs. Stavrogin? Yeah? Is that it?
I'm sorry, Mr. Sheena. No, it's not a good... I'm very sorry again, mistress.
Oh, get out.
Oh, yes.
No, not you, Lisa. Lisa, I am always...
Dear Mrs. Stavrogin, Professor, have I interrupted?
Oh, we were just discussing my impending marriage.
My dear darling girl, this isn't the most convenient.
Can I sit down?
I made you walk too fast. This is my friend, Maria Lebyadkin. I had to bring her here, so don't blame me. Don't be cross.
You should do up your jacket, Shatov. We're with the high-ups now.
I beg your pardon?
Can I have something to eat?
Come sit next to me, Maria.
It's about me and Nicholai. That's what this is about. Also the baby.
Who is this creature?
Maria Lebyadkin. Half-mad cripple and sister of a drunken brute. And you're kinder than you seem. Than you seem at this moment, anyway, frowning at me like that.
I am very surprised you brought this absolutely mad woman to my house, Lisa.
I know. I shouldn't have come. I'm always being called impetuous, but I must have matters made clear. I don't mind anything as long as matters are made clear.
Come here, my dear.
Let's be honest. My mother and you have a scheme, a plan in which I marry your son. And to be honest, why can't we be honest? When I met him in Switzerland, I liked him. But I must know certain things. I must know them. People have said he will squander your money on his politics, on printing presses and bombs. I don't care if he does that, if he squanders my money on printing presses at least. I don't care that much about his past, but look at her. Look at her. You must tell me what you know. Otherwise, I will leave here in a moment, go back to Petersburg, no matter what my mother says.
My son is much misunderstood. He is kind. It's quite possible he has been kind to this young woman. Of course, gossips will make mischief, lie and spread rumours. The governor's wife, she is the source of all this. She wishes to destroy me. Lisa, my dear, it's all just malice. Perhaps the poor girl herself believes all sorts of silly things. Look at her. I shouldn't have spoken harshly to her. What is her name?
Maria Lebyadkin.
Mr. Shatov, will you be so good as to take this young person home?
Very happy to go. Come on, Maria.
I had hoped to discuss some other matters with you, but another time.
You needn't worry, Mrs. Stavrogin. I don't require buying off. As I've said, what Darya does is her business. If she wants me to intervene, I will. I really will. But if she wants to marry this man, let her.
Gracious, as always, dear brother.
Darya.
Miss Shatova, allow me to wish you good afternoon.
Are you sure about this, Darya?
I will be providing a dowry, a handsome dowry for her. You, Mr. Shatov, need feel no concern on that score.
I don't. I won't. I wouldn't.
Would you explain about me and Nicholai, darling Darya? That's why we're here. Me and Tushina. Miss Tushina and me. Miss Tushina and I.
Miss Tushina, how are you?
Well enough, thank you.
The connection between Maria and Nicholai Stavrogin is simply this. Mr. Stavrogin sold one of his estates. He gave me the money, and I have been distributing it in monthly amounts for the last year or so to Captain Lebyadkin, in order for him to provide a home for her, for Maria.
I don't know anything about any of that. You have gone behind my back.
Why? Why would he do that?
He loves me.
Miss Darya,
It is his business to explain, not mine.
you're close to him, are you? A close friend?
I know what he is, and I pity him.
You pity my son.
Darya, you don't have to answer their questions.
You are his friend, and nothing more. You've never been anything more.
What are you asking me?
No, you have a right to know. Miss Darya has the right to know what a filthy imagination I have. I ask because I want to know I am not marrying merely to cover up another man's indiscretions there. Despise me.
There are no indiscretions.
Oh, I
have not...
disgust myself. Bear witness to that, at least. I have enough decency left to completely disgust myself.
Give it over, Stepan Verkhovensky. Enough French farce.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's home. The master is home just this minute. Here.
I'm afraid it's just me.
Oh.
John the Baptist, rather than the main event. What a crowd. Ooh, I wish I'd prepared a few words. Improvise. Mrs. Stavrogin first. Thanks. Thank you for allowing me.
Pyotr. Pierre. My boy. Can that be you?
Clearly, it's me. Don't make a fuss.
Let me kiss you.
Do you know, I'd rather you didn't. Lisa, looking lovely.
How many years has it been?
It's hard to say. Honestly, do we have to go through a scene? I mean, my God. Here I am being welcomed home by the prodigal father. That's a bit of a reversal. Shatov, you bad, bad penny. Not the place I'd expect to see you turn up. A lady's drawing room. Given you a job as a footman, have they?
Pyotr Verkhovensky.
Where is my son?
Oh, he'll be here in a moment, dear lady. Just a moment. Can I first thank you for allowing me to stay in your lovely home?
You're a grown man.
Yes, and I have been for some time. He dropped me off with some mad old aunties up a mud road 15 years ago. We've only managed the odd get-together since. Haven't we, Dad?
I have been an appalling father.
I love the way that people imagine admitting to bad behaviour absolves them.
Will you embrace me? Please. I beg you. In the spirit of reconciliation. Oh, Pyotr, to see you, it's inexpressible.
Well, let's be grateful for that, at least. Please don't even try to express it. Actually, now I think of it, can I have a quiet word with you outside the room? Excuse me, ladies, I am sorry if it seems impolite to come in and immediately go out again. But otherwise he'll just go on emotionally erupting in this irritating way. Come on, dear Dad, follow me out.
I understand that you despise me.
I hardly ever give you a thought.
You say that to wound me.
Human psychology. That's the hallmark of your generation, isn't it? Hand-wringing and high ideals, but the practical work of revolution. Who's to do that while you're fainting in corners?
Men like you, the new generation. Men in some degree inspired by an older generation. I admire you. I bow my head to you.
Well, you're good at flattery. The old lady has you trained to lick and whimper.
I can bear that. I can bear that insult.
The question is my money. The money my mother left me. Nothing from you in 2 years. Don't tell me you've spent it all. Don't tell me that.
Do you think I ever believed my life would be like this? That I would end up like this?
That's no answer. And I will have an answer. I'll call over in a day or two and we can go over the accounts. There. I've spared your blushes in front of your patron. I didn't humiliate you in public, did I? I can, though. Any time.
Oh, Master Nicholai. Could you take that, please? Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Nicholai, there you are. I've been trying to keep everyone entertained, but whatever else I am, I'm not you. Come on, everyone's here.
Nicholai.
My old tutor, what a pleasure. Ah, you look well, sir.
I don't know what to say.
Don't get him started, Nicholai. Don't let him get started talking, even if it is all he's good for. Let's go in, shall we?
Nicholai. Oh, Nicholai, you look so handsome. Doesn't he, Lisa?
Miss Tushner, this is a real pleasure. I hope you're well.
I'm perfectly well. This young woman, this Maria Lebyadkin, what is she to you?
I'm his wife. I'm his lawfully wedded, sanctified wife.
Don't laugh at her, dear Professor. She's not...
I really don't want a ridiculous scene. The things these girls say. I know she's unfortunate, but really...
Sit by me.
That's a very nice dress you have on, Maria. You should wear a shawl. The weather is cold. You must be careful of yourself, Maria. Now, my carriage is outside, and it would give me the greatest pleasure to take you home. See you safely home. Take my arm.
Do not take his arm, Maria.
Do you think I would harm her?
I won't hit you again, never fear. Unless you'd like me to hit you again. Would you?
No, thank you.
These people. You should have nothing to do with these people, Darya.
Take the girl home in your carriage. Now. Do it now and hurry back. We will pretend all this never happened.
Are you ready to go, Maria? There is a nice warm rug in the coach.
Can I keep it?
Of course you can keep it. I'll be back within an hour, Mother. I promise.
I am a little annoyed with you, Lisa, bringing this creature here. But young people are to be forgiven.
I'm so sorry. I never expected her to say that.
We won't ever speak of it again. Of any of this. To be frank, we've all been a little mad. What would I do without my calm and quiet little Darya? I, too, succumb to gossip. He is such a handsome, intelligent man, my son. Of course people are drawn to him. Of course people invent the most ludicrous stories about him. I trust you, Darya. I should never have doubted you. Can we forget about that foolish idea of you marrying Stepan? It's not in the least necessary now.
Not necessary. I should say it wasn't. Mottled old fool.
We are not wooden pieces to be picked up and dropped down at your whim, Mrs. Stavrogin.
Actually, I'd say that's exactly what you are. Would you ring for tea, Miss Darya? I'm a little nervous being in this magnificent house. I know people think radicals like me just want to burn buildings like this to the ground. But I appreciate elegance and beauty as much as the next man. Miss Lisa's giving me a very familiar look.
I don't like you.
And why should you? I'm just a scurrying sorter out of trifles. I'm the one who concerns himself with facts and figures, the nuts and bolts, the ins and outs. I read statistics. I work out the timetable. That's me. Everything useful in the world, but not inspirational. I'm not inspirational. Am I, Miss Tushina?
No, you're not.
Right, well, time to be serious, I see. 3 years ago, we were in Petersburg living a young man's life. Sometimes at the university, some not. Shatov was with us then, and Krillov. Do you know Krillov?
Yes, he's building a bridge in the town.
Oh. How very metaphorical of him. So, we were all talking too much, drinking too much, but in love with this country and this people. The great suffering people. Everyone thought, hoped, prayed that change would come, must come. We were naive, optimistic. The right pamphlet written, the right appeal made to the right politicians, the right princes close to the Tsar. This night we were drinking, we were in despair. Captain Lebyadkin was in the company, trailing his poor sister behind him. No one paid the poor girl any attention. Then, one of our number, who shall remain nameless, began to tease the poor child in a cruel way. Nicholai, on the other side of the room, saw this. In 2 strides he was across the room, the man's lapels in his hands, and I personally thought he would kill him. But no. He let the man go and began to speak. It was a moment of revelation. Nicholai began to speak. He held her hand and spoke with such tenderness, such determination. A new world, a new life. We could see it. We could actually see it. It would not, could not happen until brave men made it happen. He was stern with us. He told us our lives were forfeit. I knew this was the man I must follow whenever, however, whatever the cost I was to pay. Whatever pain I must inflict on myself and others.
What's wrong with you?
What were you doing in my mother's house?
Miss Tushina brought me. What did happen to the baby?
There never was a baby, Mario. That's just a bit of a fairy tale that got lodged in your mind.
Are you really a prince, or was that a joke?
No, I'm not a prince.
I could tell you something else you're not.
What was that?
You're not the real Nicholai Stavrogin. You're an imposter.
I am an imposter. That's true. But also, I am the real Nicholai Stavrogin.
Has you been clever, is it?
Yes. Can you be quiet now? Let's imagine I have a headache.
Are you angry with me?
Not in the least. Poor Maria, hold my hand.
He's still in the hall.
What's he doing?
Nothing. He's smoking. Waiting for Nicholai to get back, I suppose. I can't leave without passing him.
This isn't how I imagined his homecoming at all. Nicholai's.
Oh, it's gone cold. Poor Lisa.
All I want is for them to be happy. Can you blame me, a mother, for wanting my son to be happy?
I have uttered not one word of blame.
I know you. You are thinking blame. You are thinking I would have sacrificed you, married you off to Darya, because I suspected him of having a tenderness towards her. When we were in Switzerland last year, they were always talking together. What were they talking about?
Oh, we know now. The Lebyatkin girl.
There is some other mystery there. But at least Lisa loves him. I think we can be sure of that. Can't we?
Oh, I feel like a prisoner trapped in this room.
And he must have felt safe to have come home. The authorities must have realised their mistake, yes?
Why am I so much to be blamed?
Nicholai has a noble nature. Why he needs to show this in the surroundings of slums and drunkenness of Petersburg, of Vienna and Zurich, I do not know.
This is the lesson I have learned today, Mrs. Stavrogin. Don't blame others. It is time to blame yourself.
How am I to blame?
My grief at this moment is self-indulgent, but real. What kind of a son do I have? He mocked me. But I deserve to be mocked. I know that.
Nicholai was delighted to see me.
There's no need for you to hover about like this. I'm not going to steal one of the paintings. Oh, and as for this thing... What the hell is this thing? A vase? An urn?
Don't touch that.
Don't think I could even lift it. Christ, it's ugly though, isn't it? What are you? A footman? You're a bit old for it. An under-butler. You should get her to get you a new coat. You look shabby.
Stop leaning against that wall. You'll make a mark.
Precisely my intention.
Your old dad is a gentleman.
He's a French poodle.
And you're not supposed to be smoking in the hall. There's a room for that.
And one for them to eat. Another to sleep in. Another to read in. Oh, and a nice room with a view of the garden to talk piously about the poor in. Your son works in the local factory, doesn't he?
How do you know that?
I know that because knowledge is power. Right, I need to have a private word with Nicholai. Joking aside, thank you for keeping me company, but you can go now.
I don't take orders from you.
Off you go. Got Maria home okay? You swore to silence? Or did you just get rid of her?
No.
Oh, you didn't strangle her and throw her body in the river?
I didn't swear her to secrecy.
Still wouldn't be a bad idea, the river. But not seriously. Everyone's still in the drawing room. By everyone, I mean your mum and my dad. I had to get out for a bit, the strain on my nerves.
What have you been saying to them?
I've been intriguing.
I want to go to sleep for at least a week.
Oh, we've much to do.
I have nothing to do.
Then you must leave everything to me. Is that what you want? The impression I've given them has been a little unsettling. What am I? Slightly sinister, or too talkative? Or a naive hero-worshipping dolt?
You find yourself more interesting than I do.
Well, the answer is all of the above. That's my disguise. I pretend to be the person I am, which is confusing for everyone. including myself. I learned that trick from you.
Have I told you before how bored I am with this?
They expect great things of us.
I thought my mother looked frightened of me.
I meant the committee, rather than the parents. Still, about them, what I will do is distract them. Do you know my father has spent my inheritance? I'm a bloody pauper. Well, that guilt will tie him down. That'll keep him quiet. You know, that's how pathetic this place is. They treat him as a real intellectual here.
He's a good man.
Yeah. So we keep them distracted. All of them. Lots of fine words. Very fine words. And then outbreaks of outrageous behaviour. Judiciously outrageous. You know, not all the time. Enough to jolt them every now and again. And all the while, we are planning...
I'm not part of this.
You are the head and heart of this. The printing press will be here by the end of the week. I will tell Krillov to find somewhere very secret to store it. We will begin producing material within the week. A heady mixture of scurrilous rumour and revolutionary politics. Oh, it'll write itself. I mean, no, it won't, of course. I will write it. Trust me, the committee expects great things of us.
I've told them.
Yes, I know what you've told them. And I know what they've told me. We have 8 definite comrades in the town already. That'll double in a month. So, while they, our dear liberal older generation, are in ferment with all our goings-on, our scandalous behaviour, outrageous rudeness, and sexual shenanigans... It's not too late to call Shatov out for a duel, by the way. Think about that. So while they're in a ferment, mesmerised with all the flashbang fireworks we throw in the air, quietly underneath, not under their feet even, but in the deep dark water like lovely sharks, we will...
Excuse me.
Why don't you join us, Darya? Why don't you?
I'm fetching more hot water for the tea. You look ill, Nicholai.
This is the microcosm, Nicholai. This is the proving ground. If we can get this sleepy little town in an uproar, they will use our technique as the blueprint for the rest of the country.
Is he talking about his committee again?
Unfortunately.
You could have been my stepmother. To think of that. Would you have given me little brothers and sisters? What a charming thought. It's not too late to join us. Join the struggle.
I would never join you.
I can't work out whose side that girl is on. She knows too much. Because I tell her things. But that's because you trust her.
I do. She's made me a promise.
Not the usual one women make to you, though? I guessed that. So tell me, what's the promise? Please tell me. Seriously, Nicholai.
You are going to be serious.
I will be. I will be the most serious man in the world one day. I'll sit behind my desk, reading reports, signing papers, attending meetings. I will plan the future of this country. We will get the respect we deserve at last.
What a glittering dream that is.
That's your business, not mine. Providing the glittering dream. That's your department. Are you ready? Ladies and gentlemen, or rather father and mother, now at last, after a little toing and froing, I am proud to announce that your future, Russia's future, has finally, definitely arrived. Nicholai Stavrogin.
In episode 1 of Devils by Fyodor Dostoevsky, dramatized by Melissa Murray, Stepan was played by Gary Lilburn, Mrs. Stavrogin by Jane Whittenshaw, Pyotr by Jonathan Forbes, and Nicholai by Joseph Arkley. Lisa was played by Cecilia Appiah, Maria by Georgia Henshaw, Virginsky by Ian Dunnett Jr., Darya by Charlotte East. Shatov was played by Stefan Adegbola, and Krillov by Hasan Dixon. Musical arrangement of The Birch Tree was by Ian Dunnett Jr. The director was Carl Prekop, and the producer was Mark Beebe. Devils by Fyodor Dostoevsky. Dramatized by Melissa Murray. Episode 2.
"11 in a row. Oh, you're good, Nicholai. You're so good.
If you're bored.
How could I be bored watching you toss balls of paper into a waste paper basket?
Go away, Pyotr.
I'll send my report to the committee tomorrow. They would like to hear directly from you.
I've resigned from the organisation.
Another thing you and Shatov have in common. Resigning from the organisation. That and the fact that you've both slept with his wife, Maria.
If you had a wife, I'd sleep with her. You've no reason to be jealous.
At least he resigned as a matter of principle.
You think I have no principles?
Can we talk practicalities? Virginsky is proving a very handy fellow. He has recruited half the local high school boys and has them leafleting the factory calling for strike action. I absolutely love useful idiots. And it's especially good, the dad connection. He'll be so upset when he finds out Virginsky's working for me.
I like your father very much.
Stop annoying me, please. The question is, do we go for strike action at the factory or plan something more outrageous? What's your preference?
A strike takes organisation, preparation.
True. On the other end of the scale, I spent the afternoon with the governor's wife, your mother's arch-enemy. Isn't it funny to think of those old ladies hating one another? She took to me immediately, I think.
She won't finish by liking you, though. That's not how people end up feeling about you.
The wonderful thing is that she, the governor's wife, who's terribly fond, terribly inspired by the young people, but worried that we or they might take matters too far, has decided in response to the most meagre hints from me that we are in fact government agents. Yes, government agents in deep disguise. She'll persuade her husband of this and we will have carte blanche to go about our lovely unlawful business. What do you think of that?
I'm thinking about something else.
5 years ago, 3 years ago, when you spoke, even my grubby little heart raced. I went to a meeting to see you, posh boy from the hometown, rouse the revolutionary youth. You're the reason I got into all this. Me and Krillov, and poor Shatov, and scores of others. I should be angry, but I'm not.
I honestly believe I've actually disappointed you. You wanted a hero you could manipulate and eventually betray.
What were you thinking about earlier? I want to know.
I've told my mother I'll propose to Lisa Tushner in 5 days' time, at the governor's wife's ball.
Propose what?
Marriage.
But you can't.
Because of Maria and my secret marriage to her. Have you told these young boys that I'm their secret leader?
Of course. I don't cut an impressive figure, but you're Alexander Nevsky. You should hear the stories I tell them about you. Your courage, ready wit, your care for the simple man. I leave out your care for the simple woman. Anyway, I've saved a really interesting tidbit for last. Fyodka, a serf my father sold to the army to pay a debt. He sold him, the filthy liberal hypocrite. All rights of man until the wine merchant sends his bill. Well, Fyodka deserted from the army. This was years ago, and he got caught, sent to Siberia, the usual. Last spring, he escaped from there and slowly, painfully made his way home. He's hiding out in one of the local woods. He's a perfect instrument. You can see that. Full of rage, blunt but very biddable. He will do anything we ask. The odd assassination.
Missed. Only 12. I once got to 3,020. I must start again.
It's all coming together very nicely.
What are you doing here? You can't just walk in like that. I might have shot you.
I might have thanked you for saving me the trouble. I came to ask you something, Krillov. What's that you're writing? Your last will and testament?
Yes.
Can I read it?
No.
I wouldn't mock you, you know. I have the greatest respect for you.
It's for my sister. She's very young.
I never met her, I think. Pity.
That's the only thing that I worry about. I'm leaving her alone in the world.
So these 6 sheets of foolscap are to be your explanation and her consolation?
7 so far. I can be a bit long-winded. I haven't time for you, Nicholai.
What exactly have you promised the committee? Pyotr has dropped hints.
What business is it of yours?
Well, and this will sound strange, I was thinking I might try and dissuade you.
I still believe in the struggle. Still. The perfect life is possible, but the way there, we must make it alone, the human race, the people. For there is no God. There is no God yet, but there will be one. Listen. Freedom is possible only on the cliff edge. That instant before the fall. No, not the fall. The leap. It must be the leap.
What have you promised the committee?
I will kill myself at a time and place of their choosing. And I will leave a note claiming responsibility for any act, any atrocity they want to lay at my door.
Really?
I'm not asked to approve of their actions, only to take responsibility for them.
Could anyone, even me, could I persuade you that this is insane? Krillov, this is insane.
It is insane. Sometimes I regret my promise, but I've given my word.
Your poor sister, alone and bearing the eternal disgrace of sharing your name. We can imagine the atrocities they'll want you to claim. What a life she will have.
Why did you sleep with Shatov's wife? With poor Maria? It broke his heart. He thought the world of you. Where's she now?
I don't care why I did it. You don't think it was important to me, do you? As to where she is, she's an independent woman. A free spirit. She was in Geneva last time I heard anything. Such a serious girl.
Don't speak like that.
So, you think they will want you to perform your fall, your leap soon?
It'll be Pyotr who tells me when to do it, I expect. Speaking for the committee, him of all people.
My sincere condolences on that.
Shh. There's someone listening at the door. I can always tell. Keep talking.
Well, someone followed me here. I think it's that escaped convict, Fyedka. You've heard of him? Pyotr has set him to follow me.
Why didn't you say something?
On the other hand, it might be the police. I'm Stavrogin. They won't arrest me. You, on the other hand, they might arrest you. Which might save your life, ironically.
I heard his voice.
Maria.
I heard his voice and I heard yours. And you're going to invite me in, I'm called.
Of course.
All my ladies stopped coming. They've stopped coming to get their cards read, their fortunes read, because now I'm questionable. I'm a liar, a loose woman, but I'm definitely not Nicholai's wife, despite the fact I am. So no money from the ladies. Therefore, my brother, the fat, ugly idiot, beats me. Look at my arm, the bruises.
I will make better arrangements for you. I will find you somewhere better to live than this.
It's like a game, isn't it, with you, man? You're not the man I married, Nicholai. No wonder everyone displeased me. He was kind. Kinder than you. You've turned into an imposter.
Very soon, I will take you to Switzerland, to a lovely house. A lovely house with the most wonderful views of the mountains. You like the mountains?
I like the mountains.
Everything quiet. The air quiet. Perhaps a little music from a room downstairs. It's warm, and you'll sit in your favourite chair with a
What purple shawl wrapped round my shoulders eating chocolate. I know exactly the place you mean. Bloody madhouse. You owe me more than that. Mr. Krillov, will you walk me home?
Take her downstairs to her rooms, Krillov. I have words to say to Mr. Stavrogin.
Shatov.
I don't want you to hurt him, even if he is a bad prince.
We used to worship this man. Do you remember those days, Krillov? We could quote whole chunks of his wise words. And then we discovered that's what he was doing. Quoting whole chunks of someone else's wise words. Nice voice, noble brow, and those understated patrician manners are adorable.
Good night, Maria.
Don't, Shatov.
Don't what?
Come on, Maria. Come on.
Let's go outside, Stavrogin. Come on.
Did you follow me here? I thought it was someone else.
I didn't follow you. I live in this dump. The walls are thin. Who do you think is following you?
Fyedka.
Who's Fyedka?
An escaped convict. He's following me under instruction.
Whose instructions? What are you talking about?
This might be our last opportunity to speak. I do owe you something, I suppose. Let me explain an important thing to you, Shatov. You don't resign from being a comrade, you know. They don't write back a note thanking you for your service and wishing you luck in the future. That's not how it works.
Outside.
Is this a formal challenge?
No, I'm just going to take you outside for a talk.
Well, is it to be bare fists, or pick up some of these broken bricks to pulverise one another with?
We went to Germany, Krillov and I. Do you remember? Soon after you recruited us. I went down a mine. It nearly killed me, but we were so inspired.
You lost your faith when you discovered my liaison, my very brief liaison with your wife. Can't have been much of a faith.
I loved you more than I loved her. That's the thought that torments me.
We need women, but they are difficult to love.
You're quoting someone else again.
But to get back to the point, Shatov. They may have said to you that you were free to leave, that they would always consider you a comrade and respected the work you'd done organising the masses. They may have told you even the best of us get exhausted, and that they knew the day would come when you would once again join the ranks of the revolution. But in fact, the door barely closed behind you before you were sentenced to death. I'm sure they did the same with me when I made my little resignation speech. But in my case, they told me they didn't take it seriously. I was too important, too much the gallant leader. A rest back at home was what I needed. They sent Pyotr with me with instructions to destroy this place. I think he likes being my jailer, my second in command, and one-day assassin.
You're trying to trap me into something, but what?
Get away from here. I mean it. Save yourself.
Why don't you?
I should, of course. But even the worst of us are full of contradictory impulses. Today, I'm full of good impulses. Save you. Save Krillov. Tomorrow, who knows? Listen, the truth is I am married to Maria.
I thought that was just confused.
I'm married to her, and I promise you this, I will make sure she's looked after. I will acknowledge her before the world as my wife. I will settle enough money to make her life pleasant. I swear it.
Every conversation with you is like lifting a stone. The things that crawl out.
This is what? I don't claim they are anything other than a muddle. I'm not an accountant. My worst enemy wouldn't accuse me of that. No, Pyotr, I would rather you didn't...
Don't worry, Dad. I have a sense of humour. What a joke all these papers are. What a bloody, bitter joke. There's me living on barley soup for years! For bloody years! While you lived on 8 bottles of red wine a week. My mother's money, my poxy inheritance. Oh, by the way, you've heard Fyedka has escaped from Siberia. You remember Fyedka? The slave you sold to the army to pay your debts?
I didn't.
No, sorry, he wasn't a slave. He was a serf. Big promotion. And now we've done away with serfs, he can be a servant or a worker. What glories does the future offer him, I wonder?
I have been as trapped in my life as any man.
Oh, shut up! Shut up! You pompous old hypocrite!
How dare you?
I'd make sure your windows are bolted at night now that Fyedka's back. He mightn't find you as much a lovable old reprobate as I do. I hope you're not still counting somehow on marrying Shatov's sister Darya in order to refill your coffers. Mrs. Stavrogina only made the suggestion, or rather ordered you to, didn't she? She only ordered you to marry Darya because she thought her beloved Nicholai might have a tendresse for her. Or more bluntly, that he'd had her, as he's had so many. Lisa Tushina, his bride-to-be, would not like that. Tell me, did you feel a tiny sense of shame touting yourself like that for a few rubles?
No one has ever spoken to me like this in my life.
To your face, dear pater. Oh, but the things people say behind your back are choice. Actually, Darya hasn't slept with him. Don't know why she hasn't. I think dear Darya has some great notion of rescuing Nicholai just at the very last moment before his final plunge into the hellish abyss. That's her noble task. She wouldn't join us, you know. She wouldn't have anything to do with us real revolutionaries, milk-soppy bitch.
What kind of a monster are you?
Mrs. Stavrogin understands what you are now. A parasite. You have lived off her for 25 years. She took you seriously. She thought you were a real intellectual. A man of letters, not a drunken, gabby old charlatan. Well, your days of freeloading are over. She wants to see you this afternoon. Her eyes are open now, Dad. Wide, wide open.
Thanks to you, no doubt.
Thanks to me.
What a vile thing for a son to do.
I enjoy doing it, if that's a consolation. You must want me to be happy.
I have confessed. I have humbled myself before you. I have shown you both my sin and my repentance.
Oh, my dear, why don't try and talk normally?
I have not been a good father.
Never mind. It wasn't wasted. I have learned from your example. I will be a very bad son.
You don't like it, Lisa?
To be honest, no.
Oh, it's Piotr's favourite Chinese tea. He's such a remarkable young man. Little crisp in his manner, very forthright, but I like that. He is my spy in the enemy camp.
Will I get them to make some other tea for you, Miss Tushner?
What? Enemy? Oh, you mean the governor's wife? No, thank you, Darya.
She has a stack of very racy French novels she keeps in a locked drawer by her bedside. She actually offered to lend poor Pyotr one.
We will all have to go to this charity ball of hers, I suppose. I should go soon.
I am truly expecting Nicholai at any moment.
What's it in aid of again?
Distressed gentlewomen.
Things are going badly wrong. There was that fire in the factory. We all know how that happened. And people say the new army recruits can't be trusted. There are schoolboys running around the streets shouting stupid slogans, things they don't understand.
I think the factory fire could have been an accident.
Oh, Darya. Everyone knows the workers did it themselves, set fire to the factory. If they'd gone on strike, there might have been some sympathy, but this... cutting their own throats and their children's.
The conditions in that factory were horrific.
Where is Nicholai? I think he hides from me. I'm lucky if I see him for 2 minutes a day. He knew you were coming. What's wrong with him? What's wrong with us all?
It's getting dark. My mother will be getting anxious.
I am very sorry. Where is he? I told him you were calling this afternoon. Now you will be angry with him.
We'll meet again at this famous ball.
Promise me that you will forgive him.
I called to see you, not him. Hello? Professor?
Oh, my dear.
On your way to see Mrs. Stavrogin?
Yes. Yes, I am.
I wish I hadn't come back to this town. I mean, it's lovely to see old friends like you, but I hate everything else. I don't want to spend my afternoons drinking tea, waiting for some idiotic man to arrive. You understand me?
I don't understand anything. You will have to excuse me for the moment. We will speak again.
Oh.
I can't stop now.
No, don't pull the curtains yet. Let us have the last of the sunset. She would make such a wonderful wife for him, don't you think? Don't you think so?
Lisa Tushner is a very nice girl.
There is no need to knock, Nicholai. This is your home. Oh, for God's sake, you.
Mrs. Stavrogin, Miss Darya, I trust I find you both well.
What do you want?
I was told, my son told me you wished to see me.
Don't use him as an excuse, don't. Do you know that this man, this father, abandoned his only son to the care of a couple of old drunken aunties when he was only 7 years old?
I was travelling. I was travelling with you, as a tutor to young Nicholai.
Blame me. Abuse me. Ridicule me.
I am not doing anything of the kind.
Excuse me.
Don't leave this room. Darya, I absolve you of any responsibility to marry this man. Let's have an end to that nonsense at least.
Miss Darya, it is for you to express your feelings on this matter. I honour you, and I am entirely at your service.
What a Romeo!
Thank you, Mr. Verkhovensky. I think it would be best to let the matter rest.
Perhaps we could have a private word, my dear.
A private word? I know what a private word means. It means him blathering on. Yes, blathering on. You think the term vulgar? Blathering on about his feelings while you struggle to get a word in edgeways. You may leave now, Darya. I find I do want to see this man. I do want to talk to him. He can listen for once.
Yes, Mum.
My dear.
A horse-faced individual. My face. That's how you described me.
That is not true. Never.
All of Petersburg laughed at my pretensions. My pretensions!
We have been friends, more than friends, for 25 years.
More than friends. Oh, certainly we've been more than friends, because I, pathetic, withered widow, have been nursing a violent passion for you all this time. So you have declared, standing on your hearthrug to everyone's amusement at the intellectual evenings that I, withered and widowed as I am, paid for.
What are you saying? How can you say such things? How can you believe such things?
My hair is dyed. You told everyone my hair is not dyed. It is not.
Pyotr has told you these things. He is lying. He's my son, and he is a liar.
Why would he lie?
We must calm down. Can I, Mrs. Stavrogin, Varvara, can I ask you to listen to me, please? For the sake of... I appeal to you.
You do not appeal to me. Being ridiculed, being the butt of jokes, being preyed upon, used, exploited, humiliated does not appeal to me.
My dear old friend. No, I don't mean old.
It all ends. Everything ends. A new day dawns. I will not be leeched on for a moment longer. Not one more rouble will you have from me. I will write to your landlord this very day and tell him to expect no more money from me. I will let all the shopkeepers know your new position. Finally, Stepan Verkhovensky, I declare myself a free woman. What do you say to that?
I am at a loss. I'm dumbstruck. I am leaving.
Aren't you going to defend yourself?
I will never accept your charity. Your kind charity. Again. It was kind. Despite my sarcastic tone, it was kind. You thought too well of me. You thought I was a man for the age. But I am only an old Yorick. An empty skull. I will go. Not just from you, but from my life in this town. I will take my few possessions and set out to discover the soul of Russia, if it has a soul. And if I have enough of one left to recognize if it does, perhaps I will die in the ditch. Perhaps I will die of the cholera.
What nonsense! Melodrama. He warned me there would be melodrama.
Forgive me.
Good. 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 Good riddance.
Well, that's the new printing press working nicely. Good. So we have a lot to discuss, comrades. Plans to plot, etc. Some of it of a private nature that is not for all ears, looking at you, Shatov.
You asked me here. Believe me, it's the very last place I want to be.
Oh, you still have your uses. Getting this beauty put together is one.
Krillov could have done it.
He doesn't have your brute strength. First thing I want to do is mention Arkley here. Only 17 and already a bright spark. A light in the darkness, eh? A shining example to us all. As I'm sure the factory owner will agree. Huh?
I'm going.
You see, we can do that here. We can say that. Talk about the factory burning. Because we all trust each other. Even Shatov here. I trust Shatov. We're all comrades, aren't we, lads?
Yes! They're good lads.
Aren't they just? And thank you for collecting them for me.
Is Stavrogin coming tonight?
No, Virginsky, he's not. Do you think we're the only group in the town or even in this district? He has a lot to supervise, more than even I know about. You have no idea of the scale of the organization.
He's trying to impress you. It's a couple of hundred at most.
Comrades! This is not a game. We're not stealing apples. This is a matter of life and death. I've asked you this before, lads. Comrades. Dear comrades. Do you understand the commitment you've made?
Yes!
You have clenched burning metal in your hand and may not let go. No matter the pain! No matter the threats of death and prison. No matter your doubts and your human sympathy, you cannot let go. Whatever is done in the name of the revolution is well done. Whatever is done. Arson, assassination, and you keep your mouth shut! You keep your mouth shut! You keep your mouth shut!
Bloody schoolboys.
Some men can bear this burden, the heavy weight of history, and some men break. Oh, they bend and break. Look at this broken man. He's a big man, but he's broken. He's an object lesson, isn't he? Isn't he, comrades? Perhaps, after all, I am a fool to have trusted him even to this extent.
I may not be a true believer anymore, but I am not a grass.
Oh, you can go now. Virginsky, walk him out.
Look, would you listen to me if I warned you about that man?
You're broken. You're a weak man. All you can do now is keep out of our way.
Come and see me if you ever need help. And if not me, go to someone you trust. Do that, Virginsky, before you get in too deep.
Mr. Verkhovensky?
Ah, stout boots. Everything is possible with stout boots. Fishermen's stocks are the best, but how to find them here? You've heard, then. The word is already out. Everyone knows.
Knows what? I've come to talk to you seriously.
She has dismissed me from her presence. I am sent into exile.
You're always having rows with Mrs. Stavrogin.
Oh, allow me. I have not had a row. I have had a fall of almost Luciferian proportions. Now, I exaggerate, but that is how I feel it. I am not a devil. I am a weak man, a vain, weak man. What are people saying? No, tell me the truth.
I need to talk to you about something else. Listen to me. I know you've had a troubled relationship with your son.
Viper!
But the principles he stands for are your principles, in a different form, with a different emphasis, modern. That's true, isn't it?
Perhaps I will find a job as a village schoolmaster. Imagine.
You agree about the principles. In your time it was necessary to speak, to write, to articulate, however hazily a vision of the future. Your generation did important work. You articulated things, but now is the time to do more than utter noble sentiments and high-flung phrases. Now is the time for action. There's a call to action, and I must answer it.
Well, that depends surely on what the action is.
I know. You've had a troubled relationship with your son.
So at the moment, given how he has poisoned my oldest friend against me, I would rather not discuss him. Help me with this knapsack. I want to get going. My walking stick. Where on earth is it? And then we must say our farewells. I'm so glad you came.
But you don't doubt his sincerity, his commitment, his essential humanity. Shatov, who knew him in Petersburg, he seems to
Look,
think
I won't say another word against my son. And I won't hear a word against him either. I have no right. I strike out the word viper I used earlier. If you have been a sinner, as I have been, you can't cast a stone, as the good Lord says.
I'm an atheist.
As am I, in one sense. Where is my walking stick?
There, in the alcove.
How do I look?
As you always do. Very distinguished.
You are my witness. You will tell everyone I set out undaunted. My head bloody but unbowed. Though that's a bit of a cliché. I will have to look for hospitality. I will talk to the people. Communicate my real thoughts. Simple vagabond. I will find friends among the people.
You have friends here?
Don't say bloody but unbowed. I think of something better. Oh, I'm too distracted with grief to speak well. Farewell. Farewell. Perhaps we may never meet again. Say goodbye.
Don't go.
Right.
I must be honest, Mr. Verkhovensky.
Oh, Pyotr, please, dear lady.
I must be honest and say I am feeling a little uneasy.
Will I open the window?
No, it's not that. It's not physical. I know you think I worry too much, that I am too anxious about my son.
All your worries will be at an end this evening. I can promise you that. He has spoken to me in the clearest possible terms. He's going to propose marriage this very evening to Miss Tushina. That news will completely eclipse the governor's wife and this ball of hers.
I am, of course, delighted he has you as a confidant, but I wish I
had a mother like you. A real parent.
I spoke to your father yesterday. Sternly.
And has he bombarded you since with 13 separate epistles explaining himself in ludicrous detail?
No.
Well, that's something. It's silly of me, I know, but I'm quite looking forward to the dancing. If I can find a partner, of course. I have Nicholai's success with the ladies.
The town is very quiet. People are afraid of the cholera.
I think I hear something. Now, what can that be? Oh, dear.
Is it the factory men? That's why the town is deserted. Oh, my God, insurrection. That's what it is. Stop the carriage. Why doesn't he stop the carriage?
Oh, I can see them now. Schoolboys, led by that Virginsky fellow. I met him in your house the first day I arrived.
What are they doing? Where is the militia?
There are only 20 or 30 of them out there. Young lads having a bit of a demonstration. Well, they won't call out the militia for that. Not outside the governor's gates. It would look bad. And besides, I'm not sure the authorities entirely trust some of the new militiamen. Agitators. Agitators have been agitating them, whispering all sorts of ideas. Hey, Virginsky! Let us through! I'm here with Mrs. Stavrogin! Let us through!
Let her through! Move! Come on!
Thank you.
I bet this ball will be a night to remember. Half the guests will turn tail when they see those boys. It's all one in the eye for the governor's wife, though, isn't it?
I don't take any pleasure in that.
I bet you do. 4 chandeliers. Isn't that magnificent? Positively imperial. And there's Nicholai, the beautiful prince, dancing with Lisa, his lovely bride-to-be. How elegant he looked. You'd know at a glance that he is a man with a magnificent soul. He's dearer to me than anyone.
Perhaps you might fetch me something? Glass of wine. Not champagne. I dislike champagne. They do look rather wonderful together.
Oh, you see the governor's wife over there. Quite a throng around her. But that is always the way. Woodlice crawling over themselves to get a juicy morsel. What do woodlice eat, I wonder? Oh, the woodlice, probably. Sometimes the strangest ideas pop into my head. Do you find that, Mrs. Stavrogin? Miss Tushina does not suit purple. What do you think? Objectively. Objectivity is all the rage in radical circles, but you know that.
She looks very well.
I suppose I better go and pay my respects to the governor's wife all the same. Dull old dust mop that she is. These things must be done. I'll bring some wine when I get back. Someone told me they saw my old dad tramping out of town yesterday afternoon, boots and knapsack. I think we might really have got rid of him at last.
What do you mean? Who saw your father?
What? What are you saying? I don't understand what you're saying.
It is perfectly plain what I'm saying. Can you all hear me, ladies and gentlemen? Ladies and gentlemen, I am answering the question you asked me when we met at my mother's a few weeks ago. I evaded giving an answer then, but I'm telling you directly and truthfully now that I am married. I am married to Maria Lebiedkin.
Excuse me. What is this nonsense?
A lot of things are nonsense, Mother. But not this. I married her some time ago in Petersburg. It was, I admit, a slightly spur-of-the-moment thing.
Why are you saying this? He has a fever. In front of the whole town, do you want to be disgraced? It's blackmail. She's a lunatic. She's a complete and utter lunatic.
She is a poor, unfortunate girl. I didn't want to deceive you, Lisa. I'm sorry not to have told you before, but it didn't seem necessary.
I see. Thank you. What are you all staring at? Can't a man be honest for once?
Do you want this wine now, Mrs. Stavrogin? As a restorative? Or we could just turn tail and flee.
You!
Well, to be fair to myself, I thought she'd vanished. People like her often do. Would you like this glass of wine, Miss Tushina?
I'm sorry, Lisa. You have responded magnificently.
Excuse me, Mother. It would be better if I left. Good night to all! I don't want anything! Go away, landlord! I'll throw you down the stairs if you knock on my door again.
You? What are you doing here? This is no place for you.
I had to come. I had to speak to you.
Please, let's not speak to one another. What's the point? I've said everything you need to hear. Go home, Lisa. Did anyone see you arrive?
No. I don't know. I don't care. This isn't the sort of place people I know would be found in.
That's why I came here. To avoid everyone.
What you did tonight was extraordinary.
Yes. Another extraordinary thing I've done. I'm losing count.
I'm going to sit by the fire and we are going to talk. I'm not leaving until we've talked.
Make yourself at home, Miss Tushina. Can I pour you a glass of, this, whatever this is?
You think no one understands you. But I do. You did a generous thing. Something impulsive. Something ridiculous. Not because it would do any good, not in this world, but out of a terrible, unbearable, literally unbearable sense of compassion. You married her. I understand that. You see how circumscribed my life is, because of my name, my money, and of course my miraculous beauty.
Are you joking, or is that genuine self-pity?
Genuine self-pity. I feel very sorry for myself. I'm like an automaton. I wind the key in my back and I walk up the aisle. That is the only action I am permitted.
Still better than selling yourself outside the local barracks for 2 rubles.
Yes, better than that, but still miserable. Cramped. I can do more.
What can you do, Lisa Tushina?
I don't know. I can give people money. I can talk about the change that's needed in the world in Russia. I can talk and talk. I can say the word revolution in the best drawing rooms. I know who you are. I know you as someone, politically, That you are one of the leaders.
And you would like to become my what? My comrade? My comrade in the struggle? You know what you've risked by coming here at this time of night? How do you find me?
Mr. Virginsky. He was with the demonstrators. He saw you leave. Pointed me in the right direction.
You sure it was the right direction?
Have you heard that Stepan Verkhovensky, my professor as I call him, has run away from home as well?
What a nice old fool he is. I like him.
I like him as well. Very much.
I've not run away from home though, Lisa. This place is just to avoid my mother for an evening. I have a headache, but I'll be home tomorrow. And you will be going home tonight. Or tomorrow morning, if you prefer. It's entirely a matter for you to decide. I'll respect your decision.
Another drink, please. She winked at me.
Who did?
The serving girl. When she brought the breakfast in just now. She couldn't take her eyes off me. Can you imagine how they will stare when I come down the stairs, the despoiled virgin? Like something out of a novel. Of course, this is all very trivial.
Not in the least.
You think it absolutely trivial.
You've ruined your reputation. I think that's a serious matter.
A serious matter for me, but not for you, of course.
No. This is something I could boast about. Discreetly. The world is very unfair. Coffee?
Why are you talking to me like this?
It's the way I usually talk these days.
You were better. Livelier. Sometimes livelier. When I met you in Switzerland. Kinder.
I probably was, a little. It's something like a wasting disease. One gets worse.
You're ill, Nicholai?
No. Not ill.
What is wrong with you?
I enjoyed last night. Thank you.
I've been a fool.
Not at all. Remember, you were never happier than when you found yourself walking up the stairs to this room last night. You felt you had control of your life because you were hoping you might do something irrevocable. And you were right. You have.
I thought I loved you.
No, you simply seduced yourself and now regret it.
Why are you talking to me like this? Don't you know it's cruel?
You're suffering from a little moral turbulence like seasickness. Perhaps for you it will pass. After all, it's only a social sin. You've outraged no one but yourself and public opinion.
I thought we believed the same things.
Perhaps we do. I'll walk you downstairs. I will walk you anywhere you like.
Do you feel anything for me?
I'm unfortunate not to, I know that. To be a little dramatic, a little metaphorical, I put my hand in the fire to test myself once. I left it there too long, and now I have to make do with charred bone. Would you like to hear the story, Lisa Tushina?
I don't know. No.
All our interest, our obsession with ourselves, each other, morality, isn't it, if we're honest, hard to take seriously? I don't mean we should laugh, but isn't it all a bit ludicrous? What is really the difference between being a good person or a bad one? 20 minutes. Just 20 minutes. That's the difference. That's the length of time it took me. So let me tell you about this person, Nicholai. He loved being a passionate man, an important man. He loved to speak and spark his audience. He loved their moist eyes and radiant smiles. He also liked, in private, their moist eyes and trembling lips. He liked to commit certain acts, outrageous, frankly disgusting acts, He liked to become suddenly aware of himself. Alive. So very alive. Doing certain things. Are you following me? He liked other people's shock. But also he liked his own. He liked that more. But of course that only ever ends one way. The law of diminishing returns, I think it's called.
Let go of my hand.
Listen, I was in Petersburg. This was 18 months ago. After my marriage and before the authorities warned me yet again to leave. I found an apartment. I was busy night and day with the comrades. I had certain little adventures, but that was to the side. It didn't interfere. I was mostly the man everyone thought me to be. My landlady had a daughter. A charming girl. She used to come up to my rooms and tell me all about her day, her dreams, her future.
So you seduced her? Or did you force her? Is that what you're telling me?
She was 11 years old.
What?
She was 11 years old. She used to bring her doll up to visit me as well. I used to make them both tea.
Dear God, you didn't.
I did. I planned it.
What do you mean you planned it?
And afterwards, I thought...
Who cares what you thought?
It was a mystery to everyone why she killed herself. You ever heard of a child killing herself? I carried on living my life, and it seems as though I could do. But I think perhaps I overestimated myself. Burnt bone, as I say.
Dear God.
Maria Lebyadkin, and then that poor unfortunate child. Others, of course, Shatov's wife, you. Pyotr has put them all in a notebook, probably.
This is impossible. You are disgusting.
Well, there are those who say everything is possible and everything is permissible. We must destroy the world in order to remake it.
I wish I had died before last night.
I can understand that. Nothing will be the same for you now. It will only get worse. Your thoughts, that's one thing I can promise you. There is nothing you can do to stop that. And there is nothing you can do to stop me. I can't stop me either, it seems.
Quite the handsome bridegroom. But I do have to say your bride wasn't looking herself just now, coming down the stairs. Her complexion was all curds and whey. That's a play on the word curdled. What have you been doing with Lisa?
I don't want to see you now.
I sometimes think you never want to see me. Will I order breakfast for you?
No.
I've slept in this chair most of the night. They offered me a bed, of course, but I felt I was guarding you. The faithful hound, you know. Also, I wanted to be seen. I wanted anyone passing during the night to see me here and remember me. I'll tell you why in a minute.
How did my mother get home?
Who knows? We both abandoned her, didn't we? Well, not exactly abandoned. After all, she has more servants than sense. Your fist is clenching. Don't be angry with me. Oh, there was a scene after you left the ball, and even more of one when Lisa ran out. Though I think most people assumed she was going to dash off home and sob into her virginal pillow at the dreadful revelation. What possessed you to tell her, to tell the entire room that you were married?
She deserved to know the truth. I like telling it to her.
Perhaps she did. But why then and there? Did you know she'd run after you and then in one of those fabulous romantic gestures throw herself into your arms and swear the world and its shabby little opinions meant nothing to her?
I didn't ask her to come here. She made that decision herself.
Oh, God. So, to sum up last night, the ball, the governor's wife's ball that she had spent months planning, ended up in disaster and embarrassment. Half the people didn't turn up, scared of the cholera. Then your little revelation, while outside the youth bellowed out their slogans. Everyone was so demoralised. The ball was meant to be a flourish of defiance in the face of oncoming chaos. The students outside got very rowdy as someone started passing around bottles of vodka.
You?
No, wasn't me. I was stuck inside. There was talk again of calling out the militia, but I advised the governor not to. After all, how loyal is the militia, really? Consternation when I said that.
I don't care about any of this.
Wait, I'll drop all that nonsense. Listen. Nicholai, everything is going well. Everything is going according to the committee's instructions. I give you all the credit in my reports back. I promise you that. I told them how many we've recruited, and of them, how many might be truly useful. The boy arsonist, Arkley, that Virginsky, and a couple of others. But we must be sure of them. And how do we do that? The old baptism of blood always works. We need them to get their hands dirty. We have to do the usual. Point out the traitor in our midst and take exemplary action.
Will that traitor be me?
Never you, I swear it. But before we get to that, there have been developments. Very tragic developments. This is where it's rather useful that I slept on the chair over there. Highly visible. And you above all have the most perfect alibi that anyone could wish for. Not that anyone will suspect us. And I think on the whole it might be a good thing. Your revelation about your marriage last night. Would be awkward if it came out in the course of the investigation. And there will be an investigation. Cack-handed and provincial, absolutely, but awkward questions will be asked.
What have you done?
And to think they'd only moved the other day. Very much thanks to the increase in money from you. But don't feel bad about that. And their new lodgings were on the outskirts of town. Quiet, out of the way. Their own little cottage. Very nice, I hear, though I never went there. I never darkened the door. They were found this morning by a neighbour. The door was open, and human nature being what it is, he peeped in. What a sight. Maria Lebyadkin and her nasty drunken brother lying in their respective beds, with their throats cut. With their throats cut. Dead, of course. We all heard the whole thing an hour ago from one of the stable boys here when he came to work. He lives near them. I asked the innkeeper and his people to keep clear while I told you the terrible news. My condolences. Very understandable reaction, hitting me. Of course, we know who did it. The rumours are already circulating. A little bit thanks to me. Fiedka, the escaped convict. Remember me telling you about him? That serf my dad sold into the army to pay his debts. Deserter, prison, escaped, blah, 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 and came back here. Very interesting, very violent bloke. Wonder how my dear dad is, by the way. Off in his travels. Never mind about him. So, we've a murder. A double murder on our hands. Or rather, the authorities do. A very horrible one at that.
Poor Maria.
I always wanted to know about the baby. The one she used to talk about. Fantasy. I assume it was total fantasy.
I remember you talking about Fiedka. You called him a blunt instrument.
But with a sharp edge, as we can see now.
Why did she have to die?
Hard to say in some ways. It does add to the general moral panic. Also, she was a bit of an obstacle. You're free now to marry your Lisa, if that's what you'd like. We could do with the money. The movement could do with the money. She is very rich. Does she love you?
Not now. I cured her of that.
Pity. She might still have to marry you, though. Face disgrace else. We'll worry about that later. Will we go home now? Your mother will be anxious.
Do you still believe it is all worth this? The revolution is worth it?
I never even think about it. And I know you gave up caring some time ago.
You're wrong. I still care. I'm still the man I was.
Really? Really?
I did try for a little while to be that man again. I did try to help Krillov and Shatov only days ago, warn them, but honestly, who cares about them? Last night with Lisa, this morning, rather, when I told her certain things, was rather enjoyable.
The world is ours. That's the absolute very wonderful truth. Or it very soon will be. Ours.
Poor world.
In episode 2 of Devils by Fyodor Dostoevsky, dramatized by Melissa Murray, Stepan was played by Gary Lilburn, Mrs. Stavrogin by Jane Whittenshaw, Pyotr by Jonathan Forbes, and Nicholai by Joseph Arkley. Lisa was played by Cecilia Appiah, Maria by Georgia Henshaw, Virginsky by Ian Dunnett Jr., Darya by Charlotte East. Shatov was played by Stefan Adegbola, and Krillov by Hasan Dixon. Musical arrangement of The Birch Tree was by Ian Dunnett Jr. The director was Carl Prekop, and the producer was Mark Beebe.
My little tree, I need branches.
For the silver flutes, I need branches.
Loo-lee-loo, 3 branches.
Loo-lee-loo, 3 branches. From another birch I will make now.
I will make a tingling balalaika.
Devils by Fyodor Dostoevsky, dramatized by Melissa Murray. Episode 3.
When I play my new
balalaika, I will think of you, my lovely birch tree.
Loo-lee-loo, lovely birch tree. Loo-lee-loo, lovely birch tree.
Again! For the love of God, keep singing.
I have seen the signs before. You're due to die.
Oh, don't leave me.
The priest is over the river and the ferryman won't venture crossing it today.
His name is Sharon. I remember that from my school days. I hate the sound of that rain. Is it the cholera? Do I have the cholera?
You've the fever, but you must stay alive until we get a priest to you. Tell the boy your full name.
Oh, Stepan Verkhovensky. Stepan Verkhovensky.
And the name of your wife.
Dead.
Your children?
He's dead to me.
Oh, well, then someone's name in the town the boy could go to.
Mrs. Stavrogin. Beg her. Plead with her to come. Do you think she'll come?
Oh, we'll wait and see. Off you go, lad. Jesus Christ, our God, for the sake of your most holy wounds.
I don't believe in God. Really, I don't. I'm sorry.
He believes in you, though. Don't fret. Oh, Lord, Jesus Christ, our God, for the sake of your most holy wounds, hear our prayer and forgive all the transgressions.
You never used to smoke cigars.
It's something to do with my hands. I wish sometimes I could make something. I should have been a carpenter, perhaps. I could have made toys for children.
Will you speak to me?
I was under the impression that's what I was doing.
You were so close when you were young. You cried when I left the room.
Windmills and waddling ducks. The kind you pull along on a string, I could make those. But somehow I doubt it.
Do you drink very much?
To the point of incapacity sometimes. Do you?
Why do you hate me?
36 dead of the cholera. There's quite a bit of panic in the town, especially in the nice part. Disease is no respecter of social class, which is absolutely outrageous in itself.
They must enforce the quarantine regulations.
They should simply shoot the infected.
It isn't a joke.
I need constantly to be reminded of that fact, that life isn't a joke. It's all too easy to drift into unrestrained hilarity.
Have you been to see her?
Who?
Lisa Tushina.
Given my poor wife, my poor murdered wife, poor Maria was only buried last Thursday, it would seem a little indecent to trot round to see Lisa.
I can't understand why they haven't caught him. The murderer, Fiedka.
You're convinced he's the murderer, are you?
Of course. Of course he was. He's an escaped convict.
Yes, he did it. I actually know that for certain. There'll be other rumours soon. The question will be asked, who benefits from her death? Her murder? Who is freed from the disgrace of a ridiculous marriage?
No one will say that. No one will think that. I think you should go and see her, Lisa. She's ill, Nicholai, very ill. Since... I'm not going to say it.
Please, I insist.
Since the night you ruined her.
I suppose sleeping with me could be considered as a ruination. Still, at least you provided me with an alibi. I couldn't have been busy cutting poor Maria's throat if I was busy with Lisa.
You must marry her.
She won't marry me. Not under any circumstances. I told her things about myself.
What kind of things?
Will I tell you them? You want me to? Think how it affected Lisa.
I'm glad your father isn't alive to see this day.
I'm glad he's not alive either. I think we both are, actually.
He used to smoke cigars.
My mother sent me out here. She can't abide the smell of cigars, apparently.
Light another one if you like. They don't bother me.
You sit in that drawing room like Joan of Arc, handing round the teacups.
Don't turn me into something.
The truth is, I don't understand you.
There's no need to talk. I came here to be by myself.
But the offer you made me last year still stands. When I'm finally outcast from all decent society, when every hand is turned against me, you, the humble handmaiden, will step from the shadow and rescue me with your woman's love.
It isn't love. I don't offer you love. I will never have sex with you.
You'll really do it, though, Darya? Save me.
Yes. You begged me for help. I don't like to think of that now.
I'm not even sure you like me.
They are talking of sending Miss Tushina to Switzerland if she survives the next week.
Ah, a change of subject, I see. Though it's not really a change, I suppose. She's just another of my unfortunates. Do you feel sorry for her?
Of course.
Yes. Poor Lisa. What exactly is brain fever? Isn't it a very vague phrase? I suppose I am responsible. I told her about the child Elena, the assault and the suicide.
Why did you tell her?
To torment her. And you know, I nearly told my mother about Elena just now as well. How odd of me. How deranged. How can you bear a man like me, with such sins upon my conscience?
You are unbearable.
Seriously, do you think I should offer to marry her? Once the word finally gets out that the unfortunate girl lost her virginity to me.
That is not a concern of mine whether you marry her or not.
Perhaps in Switzerland they'll put her in the same sanitarium as poor Maria was in. That's the kind of coincidence that God likes. Will you really do it? Look after me.
Why do you keep asking? I've given you my word.
I don't understand why. You're not in love with me, are you? No.
No. Despite your beauty, and I know what you are.
I wish you would explain why you want to help me.
Oh, Pyotr is coming.
I can't see him.
You can't smell the sulphur because of the cigar smoke, but I can.
Is that a joke, Darya? You don't make jokes.
He's got news.
Ask me.
Look how his face shines.
Christ. My God. Ask me. Huh? Yeah, it's about the dad. He got less than 60 miles away. I thought he'd be in the Urals by now. Collapsed, it seems. Apparently not drink. He managed to inveigle some poor peasants to send one of their sons here. Oh, rescue me, I'm dying. Absolute crap. Your mother's in the carriage as we speak. You need to stop her. We don't want her bringing him back here.
Your father has been taken ill. Oh, the poor man.
Yeah. You were to be married off to him at one time, weren't you? That was a lucky escape. You have to persuade your mother, Nicholai. It's just disgusting. She mustn't bring him back. He might have the cholera. Tell her that.
Excuse me.
She won't stop her. It has to be you.
Why do you care?
I need to concentrate. We both do. The governor is a fool. He's doing nothing but light candles in front of some dirty icon. Okay, some of what's happened we can't take credit for. The dear old cholera, for instance. But we've done our bit. There's plenty of other panic. The factory burning, rumours of armed insurrection and mutiny. A forceful man, a man with a plan, could simply step forward, declare a state of emergency and take control. You could be the man of the hour. You know, old family for those old duds who like such things. Passionate radical by repute for the youth. That's what the committee would like you to do.
With you always there, standing behind my left shoulder.
I don't want him to come back here, Nicholai.
He won't be back. You won't have to watch him actually die. You can just hear about it later.
You think I have less courage than you?
What is he lying on? Planks of wood? What is this place?
We wait here for the ferry. It's a hut for that.
What is she talking about? Please, move aside. He's very ill. I must take him home immediately.
He's dying, ma'am. I have heard the poor man's confession, but the priest must give the absolution. Only a priest can do that. We must wait.
Does she know who she is addressing?
Will you come outside with me so that Mrs. Stavrogin can speak to him?
I don't like to leave him, the poor sinner.
How dare you call him a sinner? Why am I talking to this woman, Darya?
Come with me. We can sit in the carriage and you can tell me all that's happened.
Wake up. Oh, for God's sake, my dear man, you must stop this. You must open your eyes and talk to me, please. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh.
I'm sorry. The place is so dirty. Thank you for coming.
Oh, don't thank me. For the sake of mercy, don't thank me. I sent you to your death.
I am dying, then.
Oh, you see how stupid I am. Why did I say that?
She says it isn't cholera. Hold my hand.
Oh, I wouldn't care if it was every disease under the sun.
I've thought a lot in the past as to what I should say on my deathbed.
I will remember every word.
Brave, uplifting things. Human and yet immortal sentiments.
But first, tell me that you forgive me. I'm on my knees begging you. The unkind things I said, scorpions escaped my mouth.
They were not your words. They were my son's. I know he told you all those lies about me. Some of them were lies. Perhaps some of them weren't. God is listening now. I forgive Pyotr, but don't tell him. It would only infuriate him to be forgiven by me.
Please.
I forgive you. If you will have the kindness to forgive me.
You are the best, most noble man in the world.
And the most pompous, preening, the most pompous.
Stefan?
No. My words in the end meant nothing. That boy will outlast them all. His actions.
And my son is a monster.
No.
I am afraid of him. I'm truly afraid of him. Oh, don't leave me. You're the only friend I have in the world.
I want to say something that you will remember. Something to comfort you. Something to say to yourself when I am gone. I don't like the dark. I don't like it. Or the cold.
Stefan?
Do you believe in me? Do you believe in me?
Of course. Of course, I believe in you.
Oh, no, not you. I'm not talking to you.
There's only me here. Oh, I don't know what to say to you. I'm saying all the wrong things. I will remember every word you say. I will write it all down. Stepan. Stepan. Please. Talk to me.
Go away.
Where to? Where do you suggest I go to? Yes, it's me, your long-lost wife, soaked to the skin, hungry, desperate. Everything you've always wished me to be. Desperate. So bloody desperate that I had no one to come to. But you laugh, you big ugly idiot.
Marie.
So you've not gone up in the world. What a dump. And it's a miserable little fire. But it is a fire. Can I come in? Can I sit by it? Do you want me to say please?
Yes, I mean, come in. Marie.
You can stop staring. I am pregnant. Just about ready to burst, as you can see. Look at you. Just as poor and no doubt just as principled. I hear you left the organisation. Why? Was it because of me?
How did you get here? How did you find me?
It was because I slept with your great hero, Nicholai Stavrogin, wasn't it? That disillusioned you, you poor boy.
I'm sorry.
Make the tea.
Should I go for the doctor?
I am a free woman. I do what I want.
I know.
Oh, you have no idea how much it hurts.
The baby?
Oh, of course, the baby, huh? I haven't a broken heart. Aren't you going to ask me who the father is?
No.
It's not Stavrogin's, let's be clear on that. If I am going to stay, you must believe that. Really believe that. You're the father. You are. Though I haven't seen you for a year. More than a year. You are. So bloody desperate I am.
Thank you.
You are such a fool, Shatov. But then, so am I. Oh! Oh, God! Oh! Oh! Oh!
I've never seen a baby that small.
He's a good size.
He's a perfect size.
The washerwoman won't like those sheets.
I've never seen anything so brave as you.
That's what we do. Nothing remarkable.
It is remarkable. It's the most remarkable thing in the world.
I'd forgotten how sentimental you are. I'm glad the midwife's gone. I hate people praying.
I'll hold him while you sleep.
Have you work? A job? Money?
I'll have all those things by the end of the week. I'll find a house, a garden.
First, find a money lender. I have a necklace. Will you throw all this back in my face one day?
No. There's nothing I want more than you and this child.
Why?
Because it's full of hope. Of a new beginning. Everything in this room is full of life. You're laughing at me.
I'll always laugh at you. I'll always find you ridiculous. Give him back to me. Oh, go on. Here, hand him over.
Yes?
You have to come now.
Who is it?
He's one of the boys. My wife has just had a baby and I am going nowhere.
Look, you must come. It's a matter of life and death. Now.
I'm not one of you anymore. And if I was, I wouldn't take orders from a boy like you. Look, come back tomorrow. Come see the baby tomorrow if you like. It will do you good. He's a beauty.
Do you want to leave your child an orphan? You must come now. It'll only take an hour. God. They know the printing press is somewhere on Sadovia Street. It has to be moved now. It's 10 years prison at the least. The authorities are panicking. They want arrests. Everything is in balance, but for the love of everything, you have to come. It has to be moved.
You move it then.
Some of the comrades are very young. Besides, they're probably not even strong enough. It's an hour in your life.
You recruited those boys. Now you see where it leads to.
I will be all right for an hour. Me and the baby will sleep.
I don't want to go. I can't leave her.
Shatov, please. We'll ask one of the women next door to come and sit with her. Women do that kind of thing for each other all the time. We won't leave her alone.
It's going to take more than 4 of us. Is there no one else? Have you a cart at least?
Have we a cart, Pyotr? What do we want a cart for?
To move this bloody printing press of yours.
Well, we're not going to move the press. Why would we?
You told me we had to. You told me.
I know what I told you.
Right, I'm going home. My wife has just had a baby. A boy. She needs me there.
And we need you here. Congratulations, by the way. It's a day of news. I've just heard that my father has been found in some drinking den or other miles away. Raving.
Is that true? Where? Is he all right?
Concentrate on the matter at hand, will you, Virginsky? Look at how calm our young friend Arkley is. You've met Arkley before, haven't you? You've met Arkley, our arsonist, before, I think?
Hello, Mr. Shatov.
Would you pass Virginsky one of the guns, Arkley? There's a good boy.
I don't want a gun.
No serious revolutionary should ever say that. Shatov, you've been condemned to death as a traitor by the committee. I'm not going to ask you if you have any last words, because no one here gives a damn if you do.
I am not a traitor.
But the committee says you are a traitor. Are you accusing the committee of lying?
Pyotr, we're all feeling afraid, but we shouldn't panic.
I'm not afraid.
I have a wife and son.
Oh, we all have wives and sons. Metaphorically. Trust me. He's been a government agent for years.
Prove that. Give one bit of proof.
It is for you to disprove.
How can I possibly do that?
There. He admits his guilt.
Stavrogin warned me. He warned me. He told me to run.
Did he say that? That's interesting.
You don't think I've betrayed you, gone to the police or anything like that? Still less that I'm a government agent. You're doing this to bind your little group together. It's a classic tactic, Virginsky. Now the police raids have begun and the arrests have started. They want their comrades to be more afraid of each other than the state.
Blood is better than cement for sticking things tight. It's true. How we'll do it is this way. Take the gun from Arkley, Virginsky. Take it, or I'll shoot you first. Right. Good. All 3 of us will stand here. I will count to 3. And then we will all fire at the same time. We're all involved. We're all implicated.
I am not going to beg for my life.
You can if you want to. It won't make a bit of difference. So, 1, 2, 3. That was easy enough. Went well, didn't it? No time to think. You did your duty, comrades. You will be mentioned favourably, very favourably, in my report. We better get going.
He's dead.
And you shot him. No, I know you aimed to miss, but that makes no difference. You fired the gun. I have to say, that was a bit of a surprise. I never thought you'd do even that. You've learnt a valuable lesson, Virginsky. You now know exactly what kind of a person you really are under the posing. Well, there's no turning back now. The rest of them will need to know what happens to traitors.
I'll tell them.
Good man. But don't mention our names, huh? Just let them think it was a special assassin did the job. His name to be revealed very soon.
How could we do that? How could you do that? He's killed someone. Shatov was a good man.
Shut up.
I don't know why you've kept coming to the house every day for what, 3 weeks?
Mrs. Stavrogin asked me to, Miss Tushina.
Well, you've seen me now. They finally admitted you. You can report I'm blooming.
She's been very concerned about you.
The account of my brain fever was greatly exaggerated. If I had the cholera, I couldn't have been kept in harsher quarantine. Mine is a moral contagion. I have lost my virginity. Which is a ridiculous expression. I didn't lose it. I threw it away. On the most disgusting man in the universe. Have you come to gloat?
Mrs. Stavrogin asked me to come, Miss Tushina.
And you are only a servant. You must do as you are told.
I'm very fond of Mrs. Stavrogin.
So am I. Ignore the tears. They are merely a physical reaction. It's the name Stavrogin. He has ruined me.
No, he hasn't.
I don't think you like me, do you? Are you in love with him?
Not in the least.
Of course not. You're not a fool. At least you think you're not a fool. You stand on the sidelines and watch us, don't you? Feeling superior. Do you know what he is? What kind of man he is? I bet you don't. For all your insight and intelligence. You pride yourself on those, don't you? Do you want me to tell you what he is? He told me the morning of... We were eating breakfast. We were drinking coffee. He told me about his landlord's daughter. 11 years old. She was 11 years old.
I know about that. I know that the poor child killed herself.
How could something so appalling be true? He's deceived everyone. Except, of course, apparently you. I'm sorry. I thought of him as being like a wonderful comet, blazing up in the heavens, guiding us to a new future. And that was before I had brain fever. Do you know what they will do to me? Marry me off to a poor cousin. Someone who will graciously overlook my lapse. Why am I telling you this? Because there is no one else to talk to. Did you know Maria? His wife?
Yes.
You know everything, of course. I'm sorry.
In these times, Some of us take terrible risks. We think we can defy God, defy our conscience, all in the name of making a better world.
I don't think he's interested in a better world.
He was once.
I don't believe that.
The worst people in the world have started out with good intentions.
You think you know him, don't you? You think you can lean into the fire and pluck him free. Perhaps, in the end, I am less naive than you.
You have choices, you're rich. Go to France or Italy. In the end, your mother cannot force you to marry anyone. You have your own money.
It isn't as simple as that. You don't understand my life. I wish Stepan Verkhovensky had not died. I could have talked to him.
Don't stay in this town.
Who are you to give me advice?
I will tell Mrs. Stavrogin that... I will tell my mistress that you're getting a little better. Good afternoon, Miss Tushina.
Miss Tushina, my dear Lisa, why am I writing to you? Don't worry, I'll make no more confessions. I don't know what possessed me that night. Why did I tell you about the poor landlady's daughter, little Elena? Did I tell you her name? Only 11 years old. But I promise not to dwell on that. I promise every day not to dwell on that. The dirty water keeps rolling around the drain, but never sinks away. The expression on your face when I told you, though, it was priceless. It was an absolute plunge into the abyss for you, wasn't it? But I promise you it wasn't any malice towards you and your lovely innocence that made me tell you. It wasn't personal malice, at least. I hardly know what I'm doing these days. Do you believe that? It's not as though I've entirely lost the idea of what it means to be a good man, or even an ordinary man if such a thing exists. You will have heard the news about poor Stepan Verkhovensky. Used to call him your professor. My mother is busy designing monuments for his tomb. It comforts her. She blames herself for having driven him from her house. That's when she's not blaming his son Pyotr for his malign influence over her. Anyway, I've been rereading your professor's little book of essays. Trifles, he called them. Though he thought the opposite. He was very vain. But you know something surprising? When I was reading his book, a pre-prepared, supercilious expression on my face, I discovered something. The essays were good. Yes, they were actually very good. He loved the people. Perhaps okay in that disconnected, patronising way intellectuals of his generation did, but it was sincere. The love was sincere. I miss him. There are tears on my face at this moment. I should have listened to him. Well, I did listen to him, and look where that led me. I loved him when I was a child. Children have such insight. Bless them. I will be leaving Russia soon, though it's quite possible I might be murdered before I have a chance to go. Young Pyotr has a lean and hungry look, and no matter how often he tries to prop me up on a pedestal, I keep sliding off. Perhaps I'll ask the lovely Darya to take me to America. She doesn't judge me. I hate that a little bit, but I admit it gives her some authority. I don't accept authority easily, but I do hers. Lisa, what a happy thought it is to think that I will never send you this incoherent, drivelling letter. I write letters every day to all the ones I have insulted and injured. It gives a little relief. It gives me a little relief. Naturally, I burn them all. Finally, I hope you enjoy Switzerland. I think you will come to hate the mountains as much as I do. Yours most sincerely, Nicholai Stavrogin.
Drivel is right. It is drivel. And I don't have a lean and hungry look. In fact, I'm putting on weight. Oh, it's going around to the governor's wife that does it. She is an anxious eater, and of course, not to embarrass her, I have to join in. Ooh, let us eat cakes, I say in a naughty way. Chaos is all around us. Let us by all means eat cakes. I'm beginning to make her nervous. She's beginning to suspect me. Of what, I wonder? I think you should send this letter. Send it to Lisa.
No.
The only thing that will actually upset her is the reference to Darya. She'll despise herself, that pang of jealousy. Also, this line about the dirty water and the drain is a bit forced. It's a quote, is it? From some writer?
I'm leaving Russia.
Poor Darya. She won't be happy with the news. Not about you leaving Russia. About her brother.
What has happened to her brother?
He got shot.
Shatov is dead.
I'm on my way to see Krillov to finish off my business in this town. Come with me. You can drop the letter around to her on the way if you like.
I always burn them, look.
Do you ever write any of your letters to me?
I did love your father once.
So did I, but that was a long, long time ago. We're at the final stage, Nicholai Stavrogin. It's time to be serious. All this scheming of mine has to end somewhere. Either we take our chance, try to seize power, or we run.
It was never a serious option, your uprising. You just wanted to make mischief.
The committee has learned useful lessons from our little experiment here.
So what now?
Krillov, as I said, he draws things to a close. Neat bit of punctuation. It'll certainly take the heat off me if the authorities have a dead man to blame.
Will Krillov do as you ask?
Yes. Not because I'll force him to, but because he'll be too proud to turn back now.
Tell me why. At least you have to tell me that.
Shatov was a traitor. He was a traitor to the cause.
He was not.
He would have become one. As you could. It all starts off very high-minded, this renunciation of the past and its idealisms. But either poverty, drink, or time work their wonderful magic, and you end up wandering into the police with a nice bit of information for sale. So, shooting him was preemptive.
It was despicable.
You gave your word, Krillov. You told the committee that you would put your hand to any confession we asked you to write. Think of your sister.
You threatened my sister, you complete
Of course,
bastard.
we would threaten your sister if it was necessary to. But it's not. You will confess to the murder of Shatov. You will confess to the murder of Stavrogin's wife and her brother. Go into the house. Sign the paper.
Why did she have to die?
Gods, I could smack you. Have you never heard of fear? We are in the business of sowing doubt, confusion, inertia, and panic. Everything must all be brewed up to boiling point.
And what will you do then?
I've written out what you have to sign. You have a gun to blow your brains out afterwards, as promised.
To truly be free, to become as God, it is necessary to
look,
make...
I won't go on with my cant if you don't go on with yours. It's Nietzsche, isn't it? Your inspiration, your death wish?
It is the exact and total opposite of him. He's a German.
You're shivering.
My animal body is afraid of death.
Your animal body has more sense than you do.
They look so far away.
Oh, the stars. Are you saying a fond farewell to the beauties of nature?
You know the child is sick. Shatov's child.
Ah, it wasn't his. Was it?
Poor mother. I wish hers was the last face I saw rather than yours. And I don't think I could bear to see her.
Well, you won't have to bear anything at all very soon. It'll all be over. Shake my hand. You are a brave man.
No harm will come to my sister?
No. None. I will wait here till I hear the shot.
Make a better world.
Everything continues. Everything goes on just the same.
Except that half the servants have run away.
We don't need so many servants now. No one calls on us anymore. We're pariahs. Pariahs and hermits.
I think there's very little left in the way of social life in the town. The curfew has seen to that. And people are afraid. They're convinced there's gangs of assassins from Petersburg deliberately spreading the cholera.
Oh, my poor Stepan. If only you had married him. If you had married him, it would have ended very differently. We would not have argued. He would not have run off. He would have treated you so well. He was a gentleman. He was a gentleman. And now he's gone forever.
Would you like some tea?
You think I am unsympathetic about your brother's death. Oh, the blows we receive in old age are the hardest to bear. There is no future to look forward to. You will find that out in time.
Perhaps I will.
There was no one in the hallway. I just walked in.
So I see. Mr. Virginsky, isn't it?
Yes, it's me.
Are you drunk?
No.
What are you doing here, if I might ask?
He came to see me.
Yes. They will be publishing Krylov's letter in the newspaper today. The whole town is talking of nothing else. He admits to killing your brother and the Lebyadkins, saying that they were traitors, some political divide. Us radicals are always quarrelling. Ist and ism makes a schism. It will strengthen the bond amongst the comrades, these deaths. It will also terrify them. They have to be afraid now of the authorities and each other.
What have you come to say, Mr. Virginsky?
Simply this. I'm the real traitor. Miss Darya, forgive me. You shouldn't forgive me.
How did my brother die?
Krillov had nothing to do
Tell
with it.
me!
Your brother died well. He died bravely. He was a man to admire. He tried to warn me, but I wouldn't listen. What have I done? Now I must go to the police, of all people.
I think he's gone mad.
They will arrest all those boys I recruited, all of them. They're children, and I led them to this.
You came here to tell me this.
Is it wrong of me to confess to the police? I might save some of the boys.
You might save yourself. They like informers.
Must stop it. I must stop it from happening again.
Who are you trying to stop? Men like Pyotr? You overestimate yourself.
Forgive me.
Forgive you? Tell me, how would I begin to do that? You were in the room when he was shot. Who else was there?
I can't tell
But you can tell the police.
They won't look at me as you do.
Was my son there?
No, he never came near us.
Thank God.
This is not what I intended, any of it. I should go to the police, shouldn't I?
Go.
Oh, damn. Sorry.
Go!
I am getting terribly tired of young men.
All aboard! The engines, the noise, and the uniforms, the straight lines, the whistles, the steam. Passengers afraid. Will I miss my train? Will I find my seat? Will I be robbed? Unrest, unease. That's the future. That's how we make things happen. I've your ticket here. Take it.
You actually make a very convincing priest. It's a good disguise.
Thank you, Your Eminence.
So your little attempt at an insurrection is over?
I'm rather proud of it all. It'll take years for the town to recover, if it ever does. The authorities will overreact. Another generation will be forged in the flames. Virginsky went to the police, you know. Didn't make any difference. Most of his lads are in prison now, or soon will be.
You know I'm not coming with you.
They'll come for you as well, you know.
I've decided to repent.
And it's not just the authorities. Have they caught Fiedka yet?
I don't know.
I told him to shoot you at the cathedral next Sunday. A final flourish in this particular little campaign.
Ah, thanks for the warning.
I haven't had time to rescind the order. Are you listening? You're a disappointment.
Yes.
Don't say yes. I believed in you when we were young and semi-sincere. Then when we realised we were not sainted revolutionaries at all, I still...
Loved me.
I'm going to Petersburg, then Geneva. There is to be a gathering of senior activists. This has been a textbook case of destabilisation. I'll get a lot of praise.
And I'm sure that'll make you very happy.
And what is it you want?
Well, what is it you want? Simply power?
I would enjoy power and also control over a whole country, not just over these rags and tags. I would like to be the only spontaneous person in an obedient world.
Did I really say that?
If he doesn't get you at the cathedral, there are other places.
There are indeed.
How will you repent?
I don't know that I actually can repent in the sense of feeling regret or feeling guilty. But I'd like to try. It's a final option.
Is that your dirty little secret? That you are underneath it all a poxy romantic?
There are policemen over there.
I better go and catch my train. You think you've escaped me?
I have.
Will you embrace me? For the last time. How will I manage without you? Nicholai. My dearest Nicholai.
I don't think I'll need the velvet jacket.
Oh, at last! Where have you been? Now, we must hurry. You must hurry. Pack. The police could be here at any moment. Ivan will drive you to the railway station.
The police are already at the railway station.
He will drive you to the next station. He will drive you to Moscow. Are you going to argue with me?
I'm not going.
I will join you in Switzerland. I still have friends. The general's name, your father's name, still carries some weight. You have done nothing. You are ill. And if you must live in exile, if we must live in exile, so be it. You are my son. Oh, of course. I've had a note from the governor's wife saying she doesn't believe a word of all the rumours, that you are the head, the leader of some horrible... She would like to gloat, to mock me, but she is implicated. Everyone knows that awful young man Pyotr was in and out of her apartments night and day. How did a man with so luminous a soul have a son like that? Stepan, even in heaven he must be heartbroken. Well, don't just stand there.
I'm listening to you.
That Virginsky creature came here yesterday before he went to the police. I don't think I understood what he was planning to do, but Darya did. She knew what would happen. She said the police would be here by the morning. They were. They were here this morning asking me... the things they asked me. Nicholai!
Virginsky came here. Why, I wonder?
Ivan Shatov was Darya's brother. He came... I think he wanted her to forgive him.
And did she?
We haven't time. You must go. You must speak to Darya. You must express your condolences. Or can't you? Is that impossible? Answer me! Where have you been these last few days? Oh, does it matter? Does anything matter? People have died. People have been killed, will be killed, go to prison. You will go to prison. Is nothing serious? Is nothing sacred? Not even your mother's love.
Thank you.
Thank you? What does that mean? You like to bewilder me, belittle me, but I am a better person for all my foolishness. I am a better person than you are.
You are. And let that be a comfort to you. Mother, go downstairs and I'll pack. I'll be gone to safety within the hour. I promise you. Darya? Darya? Are you here? I wasn't sure which room was yours.
You're seldom in this part of the house, of course. What do you want, Mr. Stavrogin?
Mr. Stavrogin? I want to talk to you.
I see.
Can I come into your room?
Come in. Take the chair.
I think you know why I'm here.
Are you cold? Will I close the window?
So, finally I'm here. I'm at a loss, Darya. I'm lost. You told me if ever I needed help to come, and now I have. Pyotr is gone. I got rid of him at last. I don't know if I'll ever see him again. I don't want to see any of them again.
My brother is dead. Krillov is dead. Maria and Captain Lubyatkin are dead. Stepan Verkhovensky is dead. Others arrested. You certainly won't see any of those again.
I was sorry to hear about your brother.
We won't talk of it.
I warned him.
What did you tell him?
He can never have simply left the organisation. It's not permitted.
You did. You left.
And I'm in danger for it, I promise you. He was a good man.
Did you hear his wife came back? She came back and had a baby.
I will give her and the child what help I can.
There is no need. Milk fever. She was, by all accounts, very undernourished, and the baby, of course, could hardly survive without its mother.
You're entirely right to blame me.
Your son. The baby was your son.
So I presume.
So, you've come to ask me for help. Ask me then.
Darya, I don't deserve anything. I know exactly what I am, what I've made myself into. Step by step, act by act, I've reached this place of self-disgust, this pit entirely by my own actions. At the beginning, and this is no excuse, this makes it worse, I did believe. I did want to change the world. I can't even describe what I wanted then. Noble, beautiful things. But it all ended in corruption.
I heard you come up the stairs. I heard your steps on the stairs. I thought you must have sat, listening to little Elena coming up the stairs that afternoon.
I did.
And you could have thought, no, I don't have to do this. I can change my mind. It is always possible to step back.
It wasn't an impulsive action. You know this. I planned what I did. I had to see it through.
Why did you have to see it through?
Well, why does anyone do terrible things? Why is that question unanswerable? I can't in any way save myself. I can't feel. I can think a little. I still enjoy eating and drinking, I suppose. Sunsets, music, all that. Oh, just mud. Darya, help me. As you promised all those months ago. Help me. There has never been a man so much in need of redemption as I am.
They are very simple, my reasons for wanting to help you. My scope in this world is so small, so pitiful. I am only one obscure woman, but if I reached out, if I saved you, with all your possibilities for good, then perhaps...
I don't want to do good.
And strangely, neither do I. Not towards you. You heard her footsteps that day on the stairs coming up to your room, but you didn't falter. I heard yours today, and I have faltered. I wonder if I could save a person like you. I wonder if you're being sincere with me now, or is it just play acting? I wonder if you know the answer to that yourself. If I get too close to you, what will I become? I don't want to be a monster.
I suppose I can't blame you.
Do, if you want to. Yes, I promised you I would take care of you. I even hinted that somehow by the sheer force of my moral character I would rescue you. I am sick of imagining myself some kind of heroine. Also, I'm not sure you're worth rescuing.
I'm sure I'm not.
I'm sorry to have disappointed us both.
What will you do instead? Stay with my mother and read her the latest periodicals?
For a while. I'm still in grief.
Of course. Your brother.
It's amazing how quickly all of them have just gone from your mind.
And later on, you'll start a school for illiterate peasants.
And wear a grey dress with a high neck to go with my high mind.
I will have to think very carefully what to do next. Police will come for me very soon, even though I'm the son of General Stavrogin. What do you suggest I should do?
You'll do whatever you want to, Nicholai.
I could run off to Pyotr. He'd be delighted to see me. Oh, how he would gloat. Or I could let my mother smuggle me away. Or I could see if I could raise an insurrection after all. I could do that. Forward, comrades. What do you think? What would you do if you were me?
Do you want me to answer that? I think you should go to hell.
I always thought you were in love with me, you know.
Yes, you are amazingly vain.
I hope you bear the burden of your betrayal better than I've borne mine.
Mrs. Stavrogin, what are you doing sitting in the hallway in the dark?
Don't light the lamps.
Come into the room with me and sit in front of the fire.
I'm waiting. He's in there in the study. I want to be the first in the room. I want to see him first.
What do you mean?
You know exactly what I mean. The gunshot. I'm waiting for the gunshot. His beautiful head.
He won't do that.
Of course he will do that. Do you think I don't know my own son?
How long have you been sitting here?
An hour? I don't know. There's not been a sound.
He's probably escaped through the window and is on his way to Geneva.
Then what is this anguish in my heart? No, don't. Leave him. Give him time.
Nicholai! Nicholai! Nicholai!
I thought it would be a gun. A rope is so ugly. Doesn't look like him.
He may not be.
He is. My son is dead. At last he can be at peace. I don't think he can ever be at peace. A rope is so ugly.
We have to get him down. There's a note.
Oh, I don't have my glasses. Where are my glasses?
It says, this is all my responsibility. That's all. No farewell.
No message to me?
Come out of the room.
I was sitting outside the room while he did this. Did he know I was there? I think he did. Did he enjoy the thought of me sitting out here waiting? What did the note say? Read it again.
This is all my responsibility.
Was it? Weren't we all responsible? All in our various ways responsible.
No, we weren't. I refuse to believe that. Don't give him that victory. Let that be an end to it. Except, of course, it never is.
In episode 3 of Devils by Fyodor Dostoevsky, dramatized by Melissa Murray, Stepan was played by Gary Lilburn, Mrs. Stavrogin by Jane Whittenshaw, Pyotr by Jonathan Forbes, and Nicholai by Joseph Arkley. Lisa was played by Cecilia Appiah, Virginsky by Ian Dunnett Jr., Darya by Charlotte East. Shatov was played by Stefan Adegbola, Krillov by Hasan Dixon, and Marie by Emma Handy. Musical arrangement of The Birch Tree was by Ian Dunnett Jr. The director was Carl Prekop, and the producer was Mark Beebe.